I suppose you could say that my story began, as so many other good stories have begun, with the arrival of a stranger. Except I was a stranger, and the way I looked at it, I was just coming home. It was the summer of 1932. I was single, 40, and finally leaving London more frightened and excited than I'd ever been in my entire life. At heart, I was a Yorkshire girl, and though I travelled as far as South Africa and taught in London, I was happy to be back. The locals, of course, had their own ideas. Most couldn't imagine why on earth I'd wanted to leave Yorkshire in the first place, or else they were suspicious. Why, if I had been so successful, was I coming back, and what was I running away from? All I knew was that I loved teaching, and now I had been given my own school. I was Sarah Burton, the new headmistress of Kiplington High School for Girls. So what if the buildings were decrepit, the girls were labourers' daughters, and the governors were stuffy? This was my material. This dead end of nowhere was my new beginning, and I was ready to build a great school, determined to make the South Riding famous. Oh, and I was sure of one thing. There would be no chance of any romance here. I was born to be a spinster, and by God I was going to spin. My initial challenge was Mrs. Beddoes. I had met her first at my interview.
Now then, Miss Burton, you've had a very interesting life and met some very interesting people. I wonder if you know just what you're in for in a little out-of-the-way town like this. Some people call Kiplington the last town in England, though of course we don't think so.
Oh, and neither do I. Do you remember a red-headed blacksmith? Had a shop at Lipton Hunter?
Why, yes, of course. He married the district nurse.
Well, they were my parents. My mother went into the West Riding. She got work there through the kindness of the schoolmaster in Lipton Hunter. He was splendid to us. It was through him, really, that I got a scholarship. Later on to Barnsley High School and then to Leeds and Oxford. I came back from South Africa when my mother's health failed. She died 5 years ago. So you see, Mrs. Beddoes, I'm certainly no stranger to Kiplington, the place everyone wants to leave. Though, of course, I don't agree.
May I ask you, Miss Burton, we had a much better appointment in the South Riding last winter in Flinton Bridge. You didn't apply for that, I don't think.
Well, no. I didn't think I should get it.
Indeed.
You see, I am very small and not by birth a lady. My hair is red, and I do not look like the sort of person whom most governors want to see reading reports at speech day.
Yes, I see. Your headmistress at South London gives you quite remarkable testimonials.
Oh, she was far too generous.
You were close?
She taught me almost everything I know. But she understands why I want to come north again, and she sympathises with my wish to have a school of my own.
Of your own?
Of which I was headmistress. Mrs. Beddoes was the county's first lady alderman and didn't suffer fools gladly. A plump, sturdy woman with a ruddy face battered by wear and weather and 60 years of hard experience. She was frank and intelligent and beamed so brightly from her spaniel-coloured eyes that she often looked as young as the girl I knew in her secret dreams she felt herself to be. I liked her instantly, though I knew I'd have to earn her trust and eventually her friendship. Robert Calm was another matter altogether.
So, you disapprove of our Miss Burton, eh?
Not exactly.
You voted against her?
Yes, I did.
But why? Surely not because of her father. The poor chap died years ago.
That poor chap was a useless drunk who lamed one of my horses.
I didn't see any signs of Our Lady lifting her elbow.
Yeah, a woman's ability to hide her shortcomings never fails to surprise me.
You're right. And she'll probably surprise us all, with her red hair and snip-snap manner. She's certainly not afraid of all your pompous governors, that's for sure. I'm glad. It's what the school needs. You mark my words, Robert, that girl will wear well. She'll have to, because I'm going to make it my job to see that she does.
Come on, here, take my arm.
Well, I reckon our Miss Burton's just the sort of teacher Midge could really benefit from. And if you're honest with yourself, I'm sure you think the same.
It's not as simple as that.
Oh, yes. I know it's not easy for you to send your only daughter to a school with the children of tradesmen and common labourers. But it's your girl you're educating now, not Lord Sedgmeyer's.
I'm well aware of that.
And I know you talked at Cheltenham or Heathfield, maybe even Paris. But are you telling me that you have an extra 200 or so a month to put Midge through a good school, eh?
Midge is all I have now, and you know I can't fail.
I know. And if Lord Sedgemeyer lent a hand, that will be a different matter, but he doesn't. He's left you to deal with the tools of Providence. Deal you must, Robert. I suppose you know how they work the election.
How Snaith worked it, you mean? That wretched man's as straight as a corkscrew.
Ah, there you're wrong. He's slim, all right, but he's not crooked. He's too sharp to break the law. He'll only work in the dark for the causes he thinks are righteous, and he sees you as an obstructionist. And he's not wrong. I've always told you overdo your economy cry. It's one thing to champion the ratepayer. It's another to block all action. Oh, I don't mean to go on at you, Robert. I know that failing to get elected must have left you bitterly disappointed. Oh, my dear boy, I do know it meant a great deal to you.
Come on, you're frozen. Let's go inside. A man's own front doorstep is certainly no place to deliberate his failings. But she'll be waiting. No doubt she'll be expecting her father to return home an alderman. Maybe it's too late. Maybe I failed her after all.
That child adores you, no matter what you do.
I know, but don't you see that's half the problem?
Oh, my goodness. What would I do without you to hold on to these bitter nights?
Here, take my arm. I reckon we're in for a storm.
Midge is a dear child, but she needs knocking into shape and company of her own age. Well, you should know full well it's not good for anyone to be alone so much.
Yes, I know.
And I wouldn't worry too much about the other girls influencing her. Midge is far more likely to influence them.
Daddy!
What on earth?
Daddy, you're home safe. Granny Beddoes, I danced all the way down the stairs.
I do. You look the grand lady.
I fancied in Mummy's wardrobe, put it on and, I feel like I could dance all night.
Go and take it off now, Midge.
But I thought you'd be pleased.
Well, you thought wrong. Take the damn thing off, do you hear me? And shut that blasted music off!
The child was only trying to please you.
I don't need pleasing.
She's just a child, Robert. She doesn't understand. She knows Muriel's dresses are still important to you. She only thinks she's making you happy.
I know what she thinks. I don't know. Maybe it's time to get rid of Muriel's things altogether. These days, I hardly know what to do for the best. Do you know what Midge said to me the other day? That she wished all grown-ups could be less unhappy.
Well, she's not wrong there. It's one thing for adults to be miserable, but for a child, it's tragic. It's high time she was amongst children her own age.
And do you really think the high school is the answer?
I know it is.
I'll tell her in the morning.
No, tell her now. Find her and hold her. And tell her why. And I'll see about fixing us a nightcap.
So, from the moment I stepped off the Kiplington bus, my head was in a spin. Determined to establish my position here in the South Riding, I put forward my plan of action and set about bullying lazy porters, slave-driving fussy cleaners and hounding stubborn governors. I was born to teach and more than willing to embrace a whole new life which excited, terrified and challenged me. I wanted to be stretched and I was ready to fight. However, it soon became clear to me that certain members of my staff did not feel the same. Well, I must say the girls sounded on good form this morning. It's quite uplifting.
Yes, it's odd the way old Siggy seems to still manage to get them all singing. Of course, working's a different matter altogether. I suppose the girls must think that rehearsing ridiculously uplifting hymns for the King's Jubilee is some kind of treat.
Why, is there a problem? With Miss Siggleswaite, I mean?
You mean apart from being quite hopeless? Well, let's face it, there really is no hope for these spinster schoolmarms. One can see why they have to stick with a job they loathe. Frankly, I don't believe it's healthy for a woman to revolve her whole life around teaching.
Well, that depends on what you consider somebody's...
Of course, I'm not speaking for myself. Oh, no. As you must know, I'm an engaged woman.
Yes, so you've mentioned.
Pip. Philip Parkhurst, my fiancé, is awaiting news of his promotion. Then we plan to marry. Of course, you do know I was eligible for headship myself, but that was quite out of the question.
Oh, you didn't approve?
Of course, once I'm married, thankfully, I'll never have to work again.
So, have you got the current upper fourths timetable?
Oh, yes, they're here. Of course, you do know she's 60 if she's a day. Oh, she calls herself 47. Of course, they're all 47 when they get past 50. I don't think they realise that the rest of us do still have our sight.
I see that last term she had 5 periods with thirds and upper 5, but none with the fourths.
Oh, she can't manage the fourths.
So these children only start science in the 5ths, and their matriculation results are deplorable.
As I said, she's quite hopeless, but not bad enough to be given the boot. She'll never resign because she's at the top of the scale. Let's face it, who else is going to take her?
And what would your solution be?
Mine? Well, what can you do? So they fail in science. You would think some would feel privileged just to count as a high school girl, but no.
Hello, Kiplington 365. Oh, Mrs. Beddoes. Well, yes, I see. No, that's fine. Actually, I was going... Yes, well, of course. It's just the state of the girls' cloakrooms. Well, no, I see, but surely... Look, I don't mind a hall the size of a cupboard, or a pitch-black cellar, or even a gymnasium and laboratories housed in a broken-down conservatory, but really, these beetle-haunted cloakrooms are enough to constipate a child for months. Yes, well, I look forward to seeing you then. Goodbye.
Mrs. Beddoes?
Yes. Look, I really think that we had better make a start on these timetables.
Of course, you do know you are wasting your breath there.
Really?
Well, really, showing old Beddoes the place. Firstly, she doesn't need to see it. She's known what a state it's in for years. They all have. Anyway, she has no power. Oh, I'm sure she thinks so, but it's Colonel Collier who has the final say. And let's face it, he definitely won't be interested.
And just why is that?
Oh, he's only interested in making sure that children of working classes are certainly not educated above the station. Oh, I'm parched. Shall I put the kettle on?
What on earth?
Miss, it's all Siggy. She's gone to Lally, miss. She struck Gladys Hubbard across the face with a ruler and then ran out the classroom screaming.
So here I was in the middle of my first week as the new headmistress of Kiplington High. Most of the girls were labourers' daughters with no desire to learn. The buildings were a complete shambles, and already I was beginning to feel as though I was fighting a losing battle, especially with the governess, who seemed totally oblivious to the state of the school. Snaith was out of town, Huggins was permanently unavailable, and as for Khan, he seemed to be blatantly avoiding me. It was obvious that Mrs. Beddoes was my only hope, and I was determined to win her over and pin her down. My staff were a mixture of the lost and the lonely. At times I felt as if I had no one I could trust. Miss Jameson was a gossip and old Siggy a dreamer. Although I'd taken measure of my position and was making some progress, I had started to realise that if I was to succeed and really make a difference, I had to be prepared to fit in and be part of the community. So I rented a cottage on the central promenade and bought myself a second-hand car. Although my position was not as strong as I would have liked, I wasn't about to give up.
Oh, it's nice to sit down and have 5 minutes. I've already been up at Flintborough this morning, and then I've still got to get to Kingsport to catch the train. It's all go. Still, I like to keep busy. So, my dear, it's agreed then. Midge can start straight away.
Yes, well, I don't see any reason why not. Is there any question of a scholarship?
Oh, thank you, dear. No, her father will pay the fees.
Of course, I will have to speak with Mr. Khan himself.
Well, Roberts, Mr. Khan, is a very busy man, what with running Maythorpe.
Surely not too busy to discuss his daughter's education.
He adores the child. He has only her best interest at heart.
Oh, Mrs. Beddoes, I do apologise. I didn't mean to be so blunt. It's been a very long day. In fact, it's been a very long week.
Having a few teething problems, are we?
Oh, well, yes, I suppose you could say that. Though I don't think it's anything I can't handle. Well, apart from those wretched beetles in the cloakroom.
Actually, you have already met Midge's father, Robert Khan. He's on the Board of Governors here. He was present at your interview.
Yes, I remember him well. He hardly spoke a word. Or even looked up, for that matter.
Midge is a fine girl. A little highly strung, perhaps. But I've always found her a joy to have around. As I've already said, Khan adores her. She's never actually been to school. Oh, she's had a succession of governesses, but, well, her father wasn't sure it would be a good thing. But I managed to persuade him.
I see.
And, of course, I wouldn't want,
to be proved wrong.
To be truthful, Midge can be a little nervous at times, even difficult. But I do believe it's nothing that careful handling and a little encouragement
As I'm
wouldn't
sure you
cure.
must already know, Mrs. Beddoes, we do try and encourage all our girls here at Kiplington High. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
You didn't, dear. I'd finished.
I noticed in our past records that both your daughters were former pupils here. Chloe and Sybil, I believe.
Yes, Chloe has a PhD. She lectures in English at the Sorbonne, you know.
Really? What a pity she's an exception and not the norm.
Oh, you can't put brains where there are none. Still, I'm positive Midge will do just fine here.
Yes, so am I. So, I had hoped that you might have time to braid the cloakrooms with me. They really are in a deplorable state. You see, if you could... excuse me. Come in.
Oh, sorry, I didn't realise you still had company.
Oh, don't mind me, dear. Actually, if I'm going to catch that train, I really ought to be making tracks.
Oh, very well. Perhaps we could make another appointment. How about later next week?
Aye, well, you give me a ring, dear. Cheerio.
Yes, what can I do for you, Miss Jameson?
Here's the up-to-date timetables you asked for.
Thank you. Oh, please put them down over there.
Oh, Beddoes was in a bit of a hurry, wasn't she?
Yes, she was. Like she said, she had a train to catch.
What did I tell you? I knew she wouldn't be interested in the state of the cloakrooms. No one will. Why should they? They haven't been up to by now. I doubt you'll ever be able to do anything with them.
Miss Jameson, will that be all? As you can see, I have rather a lot of paperwork to do.
Gloria Hammond's big brother has just been to collect her to take her home. She trapped a finger in the annex door, turned purple, and the silly girl fainted. I'd only just got my class settled when I heard such a commotion in the corridor. That damn stray was running amok again. I really do think the vet should be called. The stupid mongrel's obviously wild.
I see. Is that all?
Well, there was one more thing. Old Siggy's gone walkabout again, but I can see you're busy, so I'll leave you to it.
Miss Jameson? Walkabout, what on earth?
Ah, there you are. Jim said to come straight through. Look, he asked me to tell you not to mend the fire. He said it'd be roaring away and it'll easily last until supper time.
Oh, he did he? Did he also tell you couldn't enjoy a glass of his finest whiskey with me?
No, thankfully he didn't.
Thankfully. Thanks indeed. Now, come on, don't stand about like a lad on iron day. Pull up a chair and join me. Here, fetch a large glass. Light up your pipe, make yourself comfortable. Don't mind me. I'm frozen to the bone. I've been across to York at a rescue prevention meeting. And after wrestling all day with fallen girls and upstanding bishops, I feel I've earned me a bit of comfort. Aye, no matter what my dear husband thinks. Cheers.
Cheers. So, how did you get on?
It wasn't as long-winded as usual. But I feel I've soiled my ticket. I said to the secretary, if I can, I want to catch the 4 o'clock train, and I'll give a £1 note to the collection if only they'd cut it short a bit. And would you believe it? That wretch of a man went to the bishop, and after he'd been speaking about 10 minutes, he said, well, there is much more that I could tell you of this good work, but one lady on our committee has just said that she will give a £1 note to the collection if I cut my eloquence short. So in this case, though speech is silver, silence is golden, and down he sat.
Oh, good for you.
No, that's not the worst of it. When they came round with the collection, there they stood in front of me, chuckling, waiting for the £1 note. And I hadn't got one. I don't know when I felt worse, I don't really. I said to Mr. Cross, who was sitting next to me, for heaven's sake, lend me £1. And he said, so you're the lady, and roared with laughter. Can't imagine what Jim would say if he found out. Now, have you been up to the high school to see Miss Burton yet?
No, I haven't.
No, I didn't think so. You made all that fuss about the high school not being good enough for Midge, and then you don't even bother to go and see the headmistress.
Well, I hadn't given it much thought.
Well, you should. Midge will be starting next week, and you must make the effort, Robert. I have a feeling she might just surprise you.
I've had enough surprises for one day.
Oh. Anything I should know about?
Oh, the usual. Snaith and his fat-headed plans to build for the future. A future that will line his pockets and empty mine.
Oh, Robert, when will you two ever see eye to eye?
Never. Not as long as he's set on developing Kiplington to suit his own means and at the expense of us farmers.
Well, Robert, it looks like we're in for a long wait then. Here, let me top you up. You shouldn't take everything so personal. Yeah, you look tired.
I am. And I can't remember when I last had a good night's sleep. If I'm truthful, I need several of these before I can even get off, and then I still wake in the night. It's like my mind won't rest. Even though I'm shattered, I just lie there, wide awake. Sorry, look, it's late. I mustn't overstay my welcome.
Oh, my dear boy, you know you're always welcome in this house.
I know, it's Jim I was thinking about.
Oh, you don't need to mind him. He'll always find something to moan about. Anyway, you're far too important to me. Will you stay for another?
Why not? If you'll join me.
Why not, indeed. Cheers.
Cheers.
Miss Jameson, I'm glad I bumped into you.
No.
Sorry?
Oh, Siggy, no, she hasn't turned up yet, which I suppose means I'll have to take extra fourths again. Last time she did this, she was missing for nearly a week. Turned up in Harrogate, wandering round some filthy flea market.
How's your relations in Harrogate?
Well, how should I know? Hardly what you'd call friends.
Well, no. I doubt whether you have any. Any time for your friends with all your wedding preparations. Well, I doubt you can fit anything else in. Have you a definite date set yet?
No. Well, not as yet, but I'm still quite hopeful. What I mean is... Actually, I am in rather a rush now. Pip's taking me through to Kingsport this evening.
I had hoped that we could discuss Midge Khan.
What is there to discuss?
Well, she'll be starting here next week.
And so will several other girls. What you mean is her father, Robert Khan, is a governor. Well, you do know what they say, that she's probably not even his. Still, it serves him right, I say. You know what these gentlemen farmers are like? Born snobs. He went for blue blood and found it tainted.
I really don't think that that's any of our business.
Oh, don't you? Well, don't say I didn't warn you. And I suppose Mrs. Beddoes made all the arrangements. Or should I say Mrs. Deputy God, that's what we call her. General Undertaker, divorces arranged, relatives buried, invalids nursed, municipalities run free gratis and for nothing. All for the love of interference, or in this case, for the love of a man young enough to be her son.
Oh, really, Miss Jameson?
I'm only amazed she was so taken with you.
What on earth do you mean?
Well, Khan, of course.
What about Khan?
Oh dear, you obviously don't know. Khan was the only one who was opposed to you taking over their headship.
Oh. Well, thank you, Miss Jameson. I've had a mind to get in touch with him. Now I certainly won't waste any time. Forewarned is forearmed. I'll call him straight away. Oh, and Miss Jameson, I do hope young Pip has some good news for you.
News?
His promotion.
Oh, yes, of course. Thank you.
Don't get involved, Sarah. Stay well clear. The dreadful Dolores Jameson is just a damn gossip. A sad and bitter woman who enjoys causing nothing but misery and heartache. It's too late for her, but not for me, not for my girls. For us, there are endless possibilities. It's my job to excite, inspire and educate young women, and that's all that matters. So what if Robert Kahn's against me? Why should I care? I have his daughter to work with, and despite the silly man, I know I won't fail her. Well, Master Kahn, you don't intimidate me. I know your type well. Aristocrats, conservatives, vindicators of tradition against experiment, of instinct against reason, of piety against progress. You stand for everything I am opposed to, and I pity you sitting alone in your crumbling mansion. Now, ring him. Mr. Kahn, this is Sarah Burton here. Well, I had hoped that we might have a chat about your daughter, Midge. Well, oh no. Yes, but it's just with her starting here next week. No, of course. Yes, but Mrs. Beddoes tells me that she has never attended a school before, and I just thought... Oh, I see. Well, perhaps when you return. You will. Good. Good day. Robert Kahn, you are the most intolerable, arrogant, hard-headed fool of a man. Oh, you have met your match. I'm here and I'm here to stay, so you had better get damn well used to it. My first real contact with the community was a gala evening at the church hall. It was presented by a bubbly, flushed, fussy woman called Madam Hubbard and her highly talented pupils. What I hadn't realised was how popular her dreadful shows were. Curtain up, standing room only, and what a reception. Hordes of wild, wolf-whistling men, many of whom should have known better, lined the edge of the stage and applauded my girls. I couldn't believe it. Girls who had struggled with matriculation or played tag in the playground were now half-naked temptresses, painted like china dolls and proudly flaunting their young pubescent bodies right in front of the whole community. I couldn't understand it, and I couldn't bear it. These were my girls. I wanted to shake Madam Hubbard and demand a good reason why any intelligent woman would have wanted to put these young, impressionable, naive girls on the stage. And then it happened. Suddenly the heat, the atmosphere, the helpless charm of the smallest singers touched me so deeply I found myself shaking. My heart was screaming. I longed to save and redeem them. I wanted to leave, to cry, to shout out loud. I wanted it to be over. Hearing them sing so heartily, seeing them marching, drilling, obeying bark commands, watching their silly innocence was more than I could take. I was lost and lonely, and yet strangely I felt more alive and aware than I had ever been in my entire life. Everything I'd been through, everything I was confronted with, everything my conscience repelled was there in that room, and then I realised I was really home. These were my people. These loud, vulgar, raw, warm, wonderful people were a part of me.
It's all right, love. I know it takes you like that sometimes. I know I lost my man. Here, let me top you up. There's nought in life helps like a good cup of tea, eh? There you go. You're all on your own, lass.
Thank you. Yes, I am. Yeah, it's so hot in there. Just having a breather.
Oh, don't they look bonny, eh? You know, all made up like and dancing so well and that.
Yes, they're very well trained.
That was our Jenny in that last bit.
Oh, which?
The one in the blue dress. She's been 2 years with Mrs. Hubbard. Oh, sings and dances lovely, she does. She wants to go on the films. She was on the shortlist at the Kingsport Beauty Competition last year.
Really?
Oh, aye. They say she might have been queen if she was a bit stouter. The gentlemen were judging, see. And I always say, never mind the fashions. A gentleman likes a bit of something to get hold of, don't you think?
Well, I don't know if I...
She won't eat potatoes.
No.
But I keeps telling her, all skin and grief never got you nowhere.
Well, I suppose...
Of course, her pa's dead set against the pictures. They say it's a hard life for a girl. But I say a girl might do worse. I used to get 8 shilling a week as help to Mr. Biggs. Oh, up and down them big houses on the front with lodgers sleeping 3 in a bed and sand in the basin and early morning teas, and not to mention all them screaming babies.
Yes, I can imagine. Look, I really must be...
Since I got married, I've took visitors myself with me 9 kids, 6 living, and him out of work and my legs so rotten. I tell you, I'd rather be kicking in the chorus line than standing all day at the wash tub. You're not married yourself, then?
No.
Or should I say not yet, eh? Oh, well, don't you worry, love. Mr. Right always comes along when you least expected him to. Bloody typical, I say. As reliable as a bus in the mud. Still, you're only young.
Well, I'm almost 40. Actually, I'm the headmistress.
Oh, hey, we've all had our knockbacks. You don't want that to bother you. And well, you won up on me, love. At least you've still got your looks, lass. Hey, our Jenny's partner is Lydia Holly. Madam Hubbard takes Lydia free because she's an actual acrobat. She just started the high school. Yes, real clever lass and all. Should have been going 3 years back, but her poor ma was always expecting. And Mr. Holly, well, he's as good as useless. Oh, don't get me wrong, he's a jovial sort. Aye, jovial but bloody useless, if you don't mind me saying. You know me, I'd rather have the odd crack of money on the table. Oh, yeah. Do you like aniseed? Go on. Hey, it's good for the digestion. I always get 2 penneth every Friday. A1 for flatulence.
But I haven't got flatulence.
Oh, excuse me, love. There's Mrs. Pinker. I must have a word with her. Let her know her Grace is a born dancer. Of course she's not. But the lass has a floating kidney. She's a bit feeble-like, so she might appreciate a kind word. Here, I'll leave you an aniseed ball for later, eh? Ta-ra, lass, eh? Don't you go giving up on love. You never know what's round the corner. Hey, Edna. Hey, Edna. You're Gracie. Been dancing beautiful.
Come on, Sarah. Smile, sit up straight. Show them what you're made of. You are a professional woman. These people have entrusted their girls into your care. This is what counts. This is what you've wanted, waited, believed and longed for. You're home now, secure and more than ready to take life on. Be free and brave and open. Be calm and honest and happy. Be true to yourself and have courage. I am a desirable woman and I know I have been desired. It's only death or principle which has held me back, and I know I have a habit inconvenient in a headmistress. I do fall in love. Misguidedly and maybe too often. I've been engaged to marry 3 different men. 3 men. All of whom loved and lost me. I let them go. I know that to have loved them back would have meant losing myself. Whatever I do, and whoever I am, I know I have to stay true.
Oh, it's a grand turnout. Now, there's that young man from the Kingsport Chronicle I saw at the Lord Mayor's reception. I told him that if he wrote in his paper again, Alderman Mrs. Beddoes looked well in her usual black, I'd have him sacked. It's not black, it's navy crepe. Chloe bought it from Paris, you know. So, anyway, he said he didn't do dresses, only the women understood those things. So I had to chase all over the building hunting for Gloriana, or whatever she calls herself, just to mind she got it right. You see, I often send my daughter Chloe bits out of the papers of me wearing them, and she can't say I never wear anything but me old frocks. Oh, I say, there's Miss Burton over there, all on her own. She's our new head up at the girls' school. Have you met her yet?
No, I can't say I have.
Oh, well, you must, Joe. Come on, I'll introduce you. Miss Burton, are you alone?
Mrs. Beddoes, how good to see you.
I don't know if you know Socialist Alderman Astel. Miss Burton, our new headmistress at the high school. Astel here is the first socialist to be made alderman in the South Riding.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you.
I dare say Astel will be glad of your company, Miss Burton. I've been failing to interest him in the delights of my frocks. The point I was trying to make was that at my time of life, you can't afford to be seen wearing nothing but black. People might think you were too mean to change between funerals. There's Huggins. Will you excuse me for a moment? I must pin him down about the mental hospital business.
Do you mind if I join you?
No, of course not. I'm afraid the tea's a little stewed.
Oh, pour away, that doesn't bother me.
She says socialist alderman rather as if it was a prize freak. Are socialists really such rare birds here?
Excuse me.
Oh, here, drink this. You all right?
Yes, well... as well as can be expected. I have TB. It was recommended that I come to the South Riding for the quiet life and to see it. I run a small printing press. It's light work. We turn out leaflets, pamphlets and a local trade union paper. It's light work kept running as an excuse for pensioning inflates. Oh, you know, you remind me of someone. It's the red hair. Are you any relation to Miss Ellen Wilkinson?
Oh, not the hair. I'm not. I wish I were. I think she's a grand girl, but hers is soft and beautiful with a natural wave. Mine's a vulgar frizz. Very sad for me. Do you know her?
I've met her. I think she's got guts.
I once took some of my girls to hear her speak in London. I thought it would do them good.
And did it?
Well, I'm not sure. They liked her hair and her green frock and her way of speaking, but I'm not sure how many took on any of her ideas.
Did you want them to?
Well, I think any ideas for sixth form girls are better than none. I mean, they've got to go through their political adolescence, and I'd rather they fell for Ellen Wilkinson than, say, Oswald Mosley.
So, Miss Burton, you're a socialist, then?
Well, Mr. Estelle, I'm a schoolmarm. I take no part in politics.
Come on, that's evasion. You're either a socialist or not. There can be no halfway house. A new pair of lungs, perhaps.
Oh, it's so good to talk to you two. May I call you Joe?
Of course. So, you must miss London.
Yes, I'd be lying if I said I didn't.
But you have no regrets about taking the headship?
Only every other day.
You're obviously not afraid of a challenge.
I believe in action and fighting, and I know how to teach. At my South London school, we had debates, clubs, excursions to the Houses of Parliament, the London County Council, the National Portrait Gallery, the Tower of London. Oh, I organised open-air performances, special essay prizes and competitions. My official subjects were history and civics, but all roads lead to my Rome.
I wonder if this lazy, backward little town knows what it's in for.
Hey, what did I tell you, love? Have you finished, dear? Can I just clear the table before the second act?
Yes, of course.
I wouldn't normally ask, only I want to get washed up and sorted before the grand finale. Oh, it's usually a right good knees up, I tell you. You just wait and see. I like to sing along to all the old uns and that. Any road, you just enjoy yourselves, won't you?
Yes, we will. Oh, dear. What is it about this place? Why is everyone so insistent that any unmarried woman over the age of 20 must be an old spinster? With each passing year, I'm becoming increasingly aware of the horrors of war, its desperation, anxiety, and loss to my generation. The dead are most needed not when they are mourned, but in this world robbed of their stabilising presence. 10 million men who should now have been between 40 and 55. Our scientists, our rulers, our philosophers, the foremen in our workshops, headmasters in our schools. All these great men are just mud and dust, and the world weeps without them. So here I was, well into the new term, knocking on 40 and fighting fit. On a good day, I was ready to take on the world and all its chaos. And on that day, the weather matched my mood and the sun broke through the dark clouds and illuminated my little office. I'd spent the whole morning answering 22 letters on my new embossed headed notepaper, and it was a job well done. I'd interviewed a mother whose girl had septic tonsils, inspected a burst pipe, discussed with Miss Parsons the comparative merits of brown and wholemeal bread, accepted an invitation from Terry Bryan to hear him sing the bass solos in the Messiah at Kingsport on Easter Sunday, chased a stray dog down the full length of the main corridor, and had to separate Gladys Winthorpe and Muriel Winters on 2 different occasions. Lydia Holly was a worry and Midge Khan a handful. Miss Jameson was ridiculous and Miss Siggleswaite was still missing. So, I tidied my desk and tried to think about all the girls I had taught. My staff had long since gone home, except for poor Miss Siggleswaite, who was out there somewhere, alone and frightened and in need of help. But instead I found myself staring at the telephone, willing it to ring and hoping it wasn't Miss Siggleswaite. I wanted it to be Robert Kahn. Exhausted. Oh, come on. Let's get you home, shall we? Edith, perhaps tomorrow you could come and see me. Let us talk. See if we can't try and help one another. Edith, I know you're worried about your mother and your sister. You must believe me when I say I understand. I do. I know you cannot afford to lose your job, that you're the breadwinner. Edith, all is not lost. I've had a word with the education authorities. You are eligible for a reasonable pension. I too understand the burden of responsibility our families put on us, more than you realise. Some years ago, I had to return from South Africa to look after my sick mother. I know it's not been easy for you. You're an exceptional scientist, and I know that ultimately teaching was a backward step for you, but you came into teaching so you could take care of your family. You are a strong, good-hearted woman. You have no reason to run away or hide any more.
Hello, Kiplington 374. Oh, Robert. Yes, I'm getting ready right now. And, here, I do hope you're not picking me up in that old dog cart of yours. I may have as neat an ankle as any in the South Riding, but when you get to my time of life, you'll think twice before scrambling into that trap of yours like a monkey up a puzzle tree. Oh, you're hiring a car. Sorden's driving. Well, I've no complaints there. Yes, the old fur's out the mothballs. I'll be quite warm. Until then, cheerio. You dear, dear boy. Oh, dear. Emma Beddoes, come on, take a good look at yourself. Oh, how cruelly mirrors can deceive us. Inside, I feel no older than 35. You old fool. Oh, you're trying to impress. Not Robert Kahn, that's for sure. For goodness sake, woman, when are you going to accept it? He's young enough to be your son. But he needs me. He trusts me. I know he enjoys my company. I'm his friend. Just his friend. Come on, old girl. Try not to look too gay and eager. After all, it's only a meeting with the Cold Harbour colonists. And you promised Jim you'd be home early. Why? Why make promises you have no intention of keeping? If Robert asks you back for a nightcap, you must say no. No, Jim will be waiting. No, I must go home. It's no good. You know you can't help yourself. If he asks you, you know you'll say yes. Yes, I'll sit with you. Yes, I'll share your problems. Yes, I'll comfort you. I'll look after Midge and support you. Emma Beddoes, you're a balmy old fool. I should know better.
So, I get this call from the travelling secretary of a birth control society asking me to lend support as alderman, and I told him I've had 5 children already and I was 72 last birthday. Aren't you a bit late in the day for me? Try Councillor Saxon.
Saxon? I thought he and his wife were childless.
Aye, for 52 years, till he lost his heart and virtue to a little blonde in a kiosk on Kingsport Station.
Oh, the old fool.
That's not the end of it. The old devil only found himself at 74 the proud but embarrassed father of a bouncing baby boy. So, you still haven't been to see Miss Burton?
Obviously you know the answer already.
I do, but I still don't know why. It's not like you, Robert. You said yourself how happy the child is since she started at the high school.
Oh, yes, that's true enough.
Well,
the damn woman rang me last week. Practically demanded to see me. I thought about stopping off on my way to the hunt tomorrow.
What, in your pinks? Do you think that's appropriate, Robert?
It's either that or not at all.
Oh, very well. You must do what you feel best. You'll certainly bring a bit of colour and, no doubt, a titter or two to those drab school corridors. Maybe you should go the whole hog and don't dismount. Ride straight through into her office. Oh, now that would be a pretty picture.
I doubt even that would impress the woman.
Oh, well, if you're out to impress her, you'll have your work cut out for you there.
I'm not.
Miss Jameson, I wonder if I could have a word with you in my office, please.
If it's about old Siggy, I know already. About time, too, I say. Just why you left it so long, I'll never know. If I'd have been the head, I would have sacked her. I mean, the woman's obviously quite mad.
Well, firstly, I do not wish to discuss this here, and secondly, I have not sacked Miss Siggleswaite. I have merely arranged for her to take early retirement. Now, perhaps we could continue this conversation in the privacy of my office.
I think not.
I beg your pardon?
Miss Burton.
Oh, Mr. Kahn.
I wonder if I could have a quick word. As you see, I'm on my way to Garfield Cross for the season's hunt.
Oh, I see. Well, yes. Please come with me to my office. Miss Jameson, perhaps you could attend to morning prayers. Thank you. Please, won't you sit down?
I won't, if you don't mind. I can't stay, so I'll say my piece and leave if that's all right with you.
Oh, well, yes. Very well.
I just wanted to have a few words about my daughter Midge. As I'm sure you know, I did have my concerns about her coming to this school.
Yes, Mrs. Meadows did mention it.
Well, she seems to have made 1 or 2 good friends here, and says she enjoys herself. And frankly, her happiness is all that matters.
Well, I'm certainly glad to hear it.
Yes. Good. Well, we'll talk further after the governor's meeting next month. Reassess the situation.
Yes, fine. Well, till next month, then. Please don't let me keep you from the hounds.
No doubt you are one of these people who disapprove of hunting.
Well, this is hardly an appropriate moment to discuss the ethics of fox hunting. However, if 50 or so grown-up men will amuse themselves by riding after one little animal to watch it torn to pieces by dogs, then yes, Mr. Khan, I must admit I do disapprove. And now, if you don't mind, I must get back to morning assembly. Good day, Mr. Khan. I look forward to seeing you at the next governor's meeting.
Good morning, Miss Burton.
What do you think you're doing? Does it look like snooty draws? Do you know who I am? I am Midge Khan of Maythorpe. Well, I'm Lydia Rolly of the Shacks, Kiplington, East Yorkshire, England, and the flipping Wales. The world? Fat lot of good you are to the world. What are you going to be when you grow up? A beggar or a thief? Fat lot of good you are to anything. You don't impress me, Midge Khan. I've heard about your precious Maythorpe Hall with its crumbling ceilings falling down on your stuck-up heads. Just because we ain't got much money don't mean to say we're worth now, no matter what you and your stupid father think. Who's rattled your cage, sneak thief? I might not talk with a plum in me gob like you, but I'm cleverer than you. I'm cleverer than any of the girls in this school, and I'm gonna go to college. A slum child's brains don't count. Everybody knows they'll never take someone like you. At least I've got a brain. Your head's full of now but mad stuff. How dare you, you smelly, vile creature. Look at you, you're filthy. Just look at your hand. What have you been doing? Digging up old potatoes for your supper? Yeah, I have. What have you been doing? Crying for your mad mother. How dare you, you slum child. I might be a slum child, but at least I've got a man. What have you got? Fat old beddos that smells of stale perfume and mothballs. Your parents should be locked up for producing a despicable, dirty sneak thief like you. And your mum's already locked up in a flipping nut house. Well, I'm gonna tell my father what you said. I hope you know that my father is a very important man. He's a governor at this school, and if I say so, he can throw you out. See, you are. You're nuts. He can't throw me out. Everyone knows Miss Burton's the boss around here. Oh, you stupid, ignorant girl. My father is far more important than Miss Burton, and if I asked him to, he could sack her right this minute.
Miss Khan!
Oh, bloody hell, you've done it now.
Lydia Holly, not another word out of both of you.
But Miss Burton, it wasn't me. It was her. She made me say it. She said my mother was mad. She said...
I said, calm down. I don't want to hear what she said. Neither of you had any business to be talking in the cloakrooms at all. You know there's a rule of silence here, and that rule is made precisely because, as you see, you apparently cannot be trusted to behave like civilized human beings.
Yes, Miss Burton. Sorry, Miss Burton.
It's not me you should be apologising to, is it, Lydia?
No, miss. I'm sorry, Midge. I didn't mean to be unpleasant. Shake hands. Never! Not in a million years. They're filthy. Please yourself, crybaby. I'm not bothered. Can I go now, Miss Burton?
Very well, Lydia. Wait for me outside my office.
She called me a crybaby.
You are a crybaby, Midge.
She laughed at my father and said my mother was mad.
And I'm sure you said some equally nasty things back.
Well, she does smell. And she has fleas and she lies and I hate her. I hate her.
I'm sure you don't mean that.
I do. I hate them all. I know what they say. They say I'm mad, like my mother.
Midge, you must learn to take life more calmly. That's better. Now you run along to Miss Pearson and try and stay calm. I shall be along shortly.
wallflowers growing up so high. All the pretty maids are all going to die, except for Lydia Harley, she's the only one. So turn your back, face her back to the wall again.
We're going to have snow today, I can feel it. I do hope it settles. Life can be so drab and bitter. This is my life's work, and I must equip my girls with knowledge, confidence and ambition. Arm them with weapons to fight the dead monotony of life. Arm them with joy, with memories, with passion. Go, therefore, and do that which is within you to do. Take no heed of gestures that beckon you aside. Ask of no man permission to perform. That is my motto, and that is what I will give to the girls who leave my care to become housewives, typists, children's nurses and shop assistants. How I wish for them to share something unexpected and spontaneous. An afternoon snatched from the fixed routine of timetables, a chance for joy, a burst of music, an insistence upon beauty or pleasure or daring. Something positive and wildly lovely, like driving out before the dawn to Kingsport and watching the boats sail up the Silver Leam. Oh, how I wish it would snow.
Lydia. Oh, sorry, miss. I know I'm late, but you see how gay is at a turnip? Well, lately she ate more than one and got bellyache so bad it almost turned into
appendicitis?
Yeah, except it wasn't. It was just the turnips. But they had to keep her in the infirmary just to make sure, like. And my mum had to get off early this morning to fetch her home, which meant I had to see to how Kitty and Alice, who wouldn't get up and kept saying, just 5 more minutes. And how Daisy couldn't find her other welly, because how Bertie had a blooming date last night with Mary something or other, and I think he's a bit keen on her, you see, miss. And Welly had a massive hole in one of his best shoes, so I cut out Daisy's welly boot just to make it in a sole for his shoe. And it wasn't really fair, because she only got her wellies. And I ran as fast as I could, but half the shortcut was dead, I see, and the rest was just... Oh, sorry, miss. I mean, Miss Burton. Mum says I can talk the hind leg off a flipping donkey.
Well, you obviously have a great deal to talk about. Just how many brothers and sisters do you have?
6 living, miss. My mum lost 2. One before me and one before Alberti. That was a boy, lived 6 days, I think. She didn't talk about it no more. Not to us kids, any word.
I'm sorry to hear that. How old are you all?
Well, our Bert's 16, Kitty's nearly 12, Alice 8. Our Gertie's 7 and Daisy's just turned 4. And I'm 14 going on 15, Miss Burton. And now my mum's 5 months gone with another. Doctor's not happy about it neither. Neither is me mum. All she's done since she's known is cry. I want to help her, miss. I do help her. Except I get that mad with her. We can hardly manage as it is, let alone another flipping mouth to feed. Sometimes. I know it's not right, but sometimes I really hate me dad. Well, the pair of them, Mum for letting him, and him for... Oh, sorry, miss, I didn't mean to go on.
No, not at all. It always helps to talk, Lydia. And I want you to know you can always come to me. I suppose being the eldest girl, you have to help your mother a great deal.
Of course I do. Except I still do my own work. Oh, I love doing my own work. And I read all sorts out I can lay my hands on. Hang on. But soft what light through yonder window breaks. It is the east, and Juliet is the sun. Arise, fair sun, and kill the envious moon, who is already sick and pale with grief. Hang on, I know it. I know off by heart, and pale with grief
That thou her maid art more fair than she.
Be not her maid, since she is envious. Her festal liveries but pale and green. It's from Shakespeare, miss. Romeo and Juliet. Oh, well, you probably know that already. It's my favourite. That and Midsummer Night's Dream. You see, my intention is to go to college, Miss Burton.
How wonderful. Well, that certainly was very impressive.
Oh, look, miss, it's snowing. My mum said it would. Not that she wanted it to, she didn't, but... Oh, I did, miss.
Yes, so it is. We should be getting inside.
Miss Burton, there's a phone call for you. Oh, no, damn the snow. Oh, it does so ruin one's hair.
Thank you, Miss Jameson. Well, run along now, Lydia. It'll soon be time for assembly.
I hate assembly. And playtime and dinner time. And flipping home time.
But why?
I just do, miss.
Miss Burton, shall I tell them you'll call them back?
Are you being bullied or in some kind of trouble?
Miss Burton! Burton!
Oh, for goodness sakes, yes, Miss Jameson, tell them I'll ring them back.
Lydia, you do know you can talk to me, don't you?
Yeah, I know, but it might sound a bit daft, miss.
Come on, Lydia, that's not like you.
Well, it's like, I know how much time means. Time at school, I mean. I know how much catching up I have to do, and it bothers me. I just wish I could stay in them classrooms forever, because I'd know I'd never get bored or fed up. Oh, wait, we're getting wet, miss.
I know. But Lydia, listen to me. Not every valuable lesson is learnt in the classroom.
That's what my mum says, miss. She says she's got degrees in hard graft and suffering. But I never want to be like her. Never.
Glory be to the Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy Ghost, as it was in the beginning, is now, and ever shall be, world without end. Amen.
It's only to be expected. I mean, some of these families breed like rabbits, and heaven knows why. It's not like they can look after the poor wretched kiddies they already have. It's like I always say...
Miss Jameson, please. This is not helping an already terrible situation. I was talking to Lydia earlier, and she's so worried about her mother having this new baby. Look, can you gather the force in the foyer straight after assembly? I want them wrapped up in their Wellingtons and warm coats. Perhaps, Miss Jameson, you would also like to join me and the girls on a brisk cross-country walk.
A brisk country walk?
Yes.
Are you mad? I mean, it's thick snow and the girls have morning prayers and... I hate the damn snow.
Miss Jameson, it's March, almost spring, and yet all day Wednesday and Thursday a storm has raged and blustered, and today the sun is shining bright and glorious. Such dramatic weather is far too rare to waste in classrooms. The girls may never see anything like it again. I'm told it's almost 40 years since snow lays thick on the shore. It will be an experience for the girls to remember long after today. It will be an experience for us all.
And anyway, I'm far too busy.
Nonsense, Miss Jameson. It is high time we were spontaneous. It will make us feel alive and regenerated. The sea air and exercise is good for the body and lifts the spirit. Life, Miss Jameson, is for the living, and today, by God, we're going to live it. If you haven't got Wellingtons, we'll wrap sacking round your shoes.
What?
You heard. Now come along, gather the girls together. We can do at least 6 miles before lunch.
6 miles? Have you lost your senses?
No, I've just found them again.
Miss... Oh, I don't think my mum will be best pleased when she finds out. Well, I mean, I've already had that Russian flu. And what with me asthma and that. Well, I've been wanting to keep indoors, especially when it's damp. Well, what with the snow and the wind... Wainthorpe, stop moaning. If you want out here, you'd be doing matriculation, so think yourself flipping lucky.
Oh, slow down, Miss Burton. My ears are aching.
So are mine, having listened to you, Miss Khan.
Come on, girls. Try not to lag behind, Midge.
Oh, but my ears are cold.
Oh, Midge. Don't be such a baby.
Can tell you're not used to the wind in your face.
What's that got to do with anything, slum child?
Yeah, just because your family lives like wild gypsies, Lydia Ollie.
Oh, I bet you all wash in the same bath water.
Yeah, even the water your dad's used. Even the dog's used. That's not true, Nancy. What are you siding with her for?
Now then, girls. Please, make the effort to be civil to one another.
Wash in the sea and dry in the wind. I read by moonlight and rise with the sun.
I bathe every morning and evening, and my clothes are aired and pressed and laid beautifully on my bed.
Blimey, Midge, you sound like a princess. She is Princess Snooty Draws.
Who knows a good song?
I do. Oh, I do, Miss Burton. The Grand Old Duke of York.
Very well. You lead, Midge. Come on, girls, let's try and keep together. Miss Jameson, you going to join in?
Oh. Oh, the Grand Old Duke of York, he had 10,000 men. He marched them up to the top of the hill and marched them down again.
And when they were up, they were up. And when they were down, they were down. And when they were only halfway up, they were neither up nor down. Come on, Miss Jameson, you're not going to join in?
No.
I don't know the words. Look, are we going much further? My feet are absolutely soaking wet and half the girls must be frozen. Before you know it, you'll have the parents banging on your door complaining that the girls have pneumonia.
Who wants to turn back?
Not me.
Not me.
Not me.
Oh, the grand old Duke of York.
He had 10,000 men. He marched them up to the top of the hill and he marched them down again.
Daddy! Look, there's my daddy, everyone. Miss Burton, may I introduce you to my father, Mr. Khan of Maythorpe. Father,
that's enough now,
this
Mitch.
is Miss Burton.
You do know you're trespassing.
I could have told you that. Am I? The gates were open. I thought that this was the usual route to the cliffs.
It's not you so much. It's those girls breaking down fences, scaring what yous are left alive.
I did try and warn you.
I'm sorry you feel upset, but we really can't have done much damage.
I don't know what you would call damage, but there's a gate left open in the 40-acre.
But we didn't even come that way.
Do these girls' parents know you're dragging them around the cliff tops in weather like this?
I didn't
No,
think that...
obviously you didn't think. Midge, are you cold?
No, not very, Daddy.
Mr. Khan, I really don't think... I assure you that I have only my girls' utmost interest in mind. This outing was to embrace the beauty of the countryside, and as you see, it's a glorious morning. All week long, the girls have been cooped up indoors, and I just thought it was high time we all had some exercise, a good intake of fresh air, and a little harmless fun in the snow.
Fun, is that what it's called?
My neighbour, Turnbull, has lost close on 40 sheep, and he can't afford it. My tenant on his farm has lost a cow and calf. God knows what this snow has done to winter wheat. There's a shepherd been lost 2 days at Leighton Bridge. I suppose we shall turn him up somewhere after the thaw sets in. He's a married man with 3 children. They're skinning sheep as they dig them out along Cold Harbour. Squashed flat, some of them are, with the weight that's been on them and the force of the driven snow. The place is like a shambles, and yet this is the time you choose to let your young women career over farms. This is what you call a little harmless fun.
No, excuse me, I don't mean to interrupt, but will we be here for much longer? Only my feet have turned to
I
ice.
take all responsibility. If any damage has been done, I will, of course, personally pay compensation. Now, if you don't mind, we still have a fair distance to go before we return to school refreshed, enlightened and ready for lunch. Good day, Mr. Khan. So, who knows another good song? Nancy? Mitch? Lydia?
Do you ken John Peel with his coat so gay? Do you ken John Peel at the break of day? Do you ken John Peel when he's far, far away with his hounds and his horn in the morning?
Come in. Oh, Miss Jameson. What can I do for you? Don't tell me you'd like to go out again tomorrow.
Not exactly, but I would like to thank you. I must say I found the outing most entertaining, especially our little encounter with Mr. Khan.
Yes, though I doubt you would agree.
Yes, quite. By the way, I've just seen old Beddoes scuttling up the corridor.
Excellent. Will that be all, Miss Jameson?
Yes.
Oh, Miss Jameson, instead of the usual set assignment in English, I've asked the girls to select a suitable poem to study.
A poem?
Yes. Something contemporary, please.
Miss Burton.
Mrs. Beddoes, thank you so much for finding the time to come at such short notice.
Not at all. So, what's the emergency?
Well, I'm more than a little worried. Thank you, Miss Jameson. That will be all. Please close the door. Please sit down. To be frank, Mrs. Beddoes, it's Lydia Holly. No doubt you are familiar with the Cold Harbour colonists.
The family's living out at the shack, so of course. And if you're inquiring about the Holly family, yes, I know them very well. I've even employed Mr. Holly on more than one occasion, you know, to do the odd job. I tried to help the fellow out a bit, but, as you know, work's scarce. And to be truthful, he's no use to anyone once the nag's head beckons him.
I see. Mrs. Holly is expecting another child. Obviously, I doubt it was ever planned. There are already enough mouths to feed. But I'm concerned about Lydia Holly and what this will inevitably mean to the poor girl. She's as bright as a button and keen with it, and by far the best we've got at the moment. She so wants to go to college, and I believe she has the means, if she was only able to continue with her studies.
So, you're saying she isn't?
Not exactly. She's the eldest girl of 6 children, almost 7. They live, as you know, in a converted railway coach at the shacks on Maythorpe Cliff. I'd noticed that the girl had been a bit down this term. Now I know it was because she knew her mother was going to have another baby, and Lydia knows only too well that she's been warned it might kill her. Lydia has already missed so much school, and now she carries the fear of having to give up her scholarship and stay home to look after the children.
I see. And are there no aunts or anyone?
I've asked her, and there is no one. It would be monstrous for her to lose all her hopes now. It's bad enough having that dread hanging over the girl. It's enough to affect her for life. But to be told what she dreaded has happened. Her mother is to have another baby and will definitely not be able to manage. Well, you can imagine my concern. Children shouldn't see their worst fears realised. We've got to save her.
Well, that's all well and good, but I don't see how we can stop it.
We have to. It's intolerable. Think of the waste.
Waste?
Yes, waste. A girl like that, all that talent, when there's so little in the world. For it to come to nothing. I couldn't bear it.
But like you said, she has to help her mother look after her family.
Anyone could do that. Listen, Mrs. Beddoes, if you can persuade the governors to give her a boarding scholarship, I'll undertake to see that there's a woman to help look after the children.
You'll undertake it? Oh, I'm sorry, Miss Burton, but you can't begin to do this kind of thing.
But don't you see, I haven't had a bright child like this in my school, not in 20 years.
If she's as bright as you say, she'll be fine anyway. This may make a woman of her. My dear, you know there are other things in life besides book learning. Now, what if she does give up a scholarship and doesn't go to college? There'll be one school teacher less and perhaps one fine woman and wife more. Is that such a tragedy?
Yes. Yes, all waste and tragedy. To waste a deliberately rare, unique capacity, that's downright wicked. It's treason to the human stock. We need trained intelligence. We've got to have courage to take our future in our hands. If tradition is oppressive, we must break tradition. If the system is unjust, we must reform the system. Take what you want, says God. Take it and pay for it.
Ah. But ask yourself this. Who pays?
So are you saying that you won't help me?
No, I didn't say that. If she has to leave, then we can keep the scholarship open in case she returns later. But boarding's a different matter. She's too near. We can't exceed our powers. I wanted to ask you how Midge is getting on.
Not so badly.
Dear little Midge. She does love school.
Yes, and so does Lydia Holly. I'm sorry that was unfair. I'm sure Midge must. Especially after that great, gloomy, isolated house.
You've seen it?
No. Well, only from a distance. I doubt I'll ever have the privilege to see inside. Khan obviously dislikes me.
Oh, nonsense. I'm sure he doesn't. Why should he?
Well, why shouldn't he? We're natural antagonists. We dislike everything each other stands for. To be truthful, Mrs. Beddoes, Midge is a handful. She tests all our patience. Yet for her sake, I believe school is right for her. Though I doubt her father will ever be grateful.
Men never are. After all, why should they be?
For the same reason that we are.
Take what you want, take it and be grateful.
Yes.
Oh, my dear girl, as you must know, life just isn't as simple as that. Oh, I dare say you can do without a silly old woman giving you a lesson in life. And anyway, I certainly haven't got the time. I have a 12 o'clock meeting with a rat catcher claiming compensation from the council. And then I promised Robert I'd call, so I'll say good day to you, dear.
No doubt Khan will tell you about our brief encounter on the cliff tops yesterday morning.
Brief encounter?
Yes, it was such a marvellous day, I decided to take the girls on a cross-country walk. Robert Kahn found us marching through his 30-acre and was furious. I knew we weren't trespassing, and so when he tried to reprimand me in front of the girls, I disagreed with him. Of course, he rode off in a worse temper than he started with.
Oh, I see. And was Midge there?
Yes, of course. Afterwards, we thought it was all highly amusing.
And do you think it's wise to try and ridicule a parent and a governor in front of impressionable young girls?
The silly man was accusing us of trespass and criminal damage.
Kahn is not a silly man, Miss Burton. He's a landowner and landlord. He takes both his position and his responsibilities very seriously, and only has the welfare of his workers and tenants in mind. You do well to remember that in the future. Good day, Miss Burton. No, I think you were right. The woman has some funny ideas. Oh, I'm sure she can give you her clever reasons, but traipsing young girls about the cliffs in this weather, well, in my mind, it's balmy. But it's not like you to get so het up, Robert.
Well, it's been a hell of a week. I suppose you've heard about Castle, my foreman.
Well,
it's his heart. He's never really been the same since he took that fall at the hunt last autumn. Of course, that was Snaith. Snaith and his blasted fences caused me the death of a damn good horse. You do know I had to shoot it.
Now you've had a fallout with our Miss Burton.
A little harmless fun in the snow, she called it. Damn girlish nonsense, I'd say.
Stroke, wasn't it?
That woman thinks she's a damn law unto herself.
How's the poor chap doing? Robert?
Oh, Castle. Not so good. I visited Muriel the other day. It's a wretched journey. Feels like my road to Calvary.
Yes. Yes, I thought you must have.
I fell asleep on the train. I'd been thinking about my father. How he sneered when I told him I wanted to marry Lord Sedgmire's daughter. He said it would come to no good. That a Khan of Maythorpe can hold up his head in any company. But Muriel, well, her family were of nobility and that there's queer blood there. He told me to let her go or I'd bring even worse on her.
You can't blame yourself, Robert.
Can't I?
It's the future you're to think of now.
What future has Muriel got? And look at the last 15 years. These past few, she barely knows I'm there. I hold her hand and talk to her. They've asked if I'd considered the possibility of sending her to a state sanatorium. I've been a little late with my checks recently, and I know they can't cure her. Of course, I refused.
Oh, dear. It has been a bad week.
It's worse than you'd realise.
And do you think you will have to sell Maythorpe?
Yes, that's very likely. Can I top you up?
Oh, I shouldn't really. Jim will be sitting in the dark, winding his watch in front of a bare fire and waiting for me to bang the front door. But, I want to tell you, Robert, there comes a time in everyone's life when we have to accept life's disappointments. Either that or give up. And I know you're like me, Robert. We're both born fighters.
What's for tea, lad? Never you mind what's for tea, there'll be now. Now for you, any rud. Now till you've washed them filthy hands of yours. Go on and use backyard tap. Wipe younger's nose before he eats it and all. Well, go on then, don't just stand there gawping.
Where's Mam?
Never you mind where's Mam. Mam don't want to be bothered by you. You know she's badly in having to lie down.
Oh, she's always badly these days. It's not flipping fair. You're a rotten cook and stingy with it. I'm sick of you looking after us. I want me Mam.
You're sick of it? What about me? No one ever thinks I might be fed up. All them lot, all them that aren't even bothered, they're all still at school now doing classes, scripture and history. This term we was going to do Nehemiah, the book about the gallant young prophet, the king's cupbearer, who roved by night among the ruins of Jerusalem. It's not fair. What have I done all day? See to you lot and peel tons of rotten flaming spuds. Look at the state of me. I look a wreck. And what do? Sit there brushing your rotten hair and moaning. Have a good man to cut them stupid plats off. Come off and chuck them in fire.
Lydia! Put that down.
You mad you are. I'm telling me Dad. I'm telling me Father, and he'll give you the belt for this, Lydia Rolly.
I hope you don't mind me calling. Only I've noticed you haven't been at school since Monday. I also heard that your mother was feeling unwell, so you have to stay home and look after her and your family. So I brought you some books to read. Browning Stafford and the complete works of... Oh, Lydia. You all right?
You can take 'em back. Take 'em back and give 'em to them that has time to waste. I've got tea to get ready, spuds to peel and clothes to wash. I haven't got time for stupid flaming books.
How is your mother, Lydia?
How do you think? I'm here, aren't I? Stuck here doing everything as usual. It's not Mum's fault she's tired out all the time. She's back here like she's been kicked by a ruddy cart horse, and she's as weak as a sparrow.
Oh, Lydia. It won't always be this hard, I promise you. Soon you'll be writing off to colleges and looking forward to... Oh, Mrs. Holly, I
Leave the lass alone.
Mum, you shouldn't be up.
Leave the lass alone.
Mum, you shouldn't be up.
If you want to help the lass, Miss Burton, then stay away. She misses school, and having you turn up with books don't help. And any road, she'll not be needing them anymore. She knows where she belongs, and why. And no amount of book learning's going to make a blind bit of difference. So if you don't mind, she's got real work to get on with.
The snow has thawed. Today is the official day of spring. And yet for the likes of Lydia Holly, spring only means one thing. Another mouth to feed, even more hard work, and no chance of ever returning to school. I must talk to Mrs. Beddoes again and tell her about my visit. How distraught Lydia must have been to refuse the books I'd taken for her. Refuse them rather than upset her mother. I know she was just putting on a brave face, but to have a brain like hers and be trapped in a life filled with nothing but changing babies' nappies and wiping dirty faces and feeding screaming mouths, I cannot bear it.
My dear, I've said it before and I'll say it again. There are other things in life besides book learning. You talk about trained intelligence. Well, I believe in trained character. And no matter how bright a girl like Lydia Holly may be, her family need her, and that's where she belongs. She knows it's right. And I, for one, think it'll be the making of her. It takes more than solid graft to look after a family of that size. It takes patience and discipline.
Oh, that too, yes. And I believe in discipline, but not in frustration.
You also believe in having your own way, don't you?
I believe in being stretched to the furthest limit of one's capacity.
And you expect people to choose their own ways of fulfilment?
Yes, to a large extent.
You don't believe in a higher providence?
Not if it means just knuckling under as soon as things grow difficult and calling that God's will.
And that's what you believe the Holly girl is doing?
It's what I believe her parents have forced upon her. Her father knew they could ill afford another child, let alone risk his wife's health and his daughter's education. I think we have to play our own providence, for ourselves and for future generations. If the growth of civilization means anything, it means the gradual reduction of areas ruled by chance. Providence, if you like.
Chance? Life isn't as easy as that. There's so much hardship, so little means of helping. If you strain the law here, you'll break it there. We do what we can, but there's so little. We need patience.
Oh, patience? Surely we need courage even more. We need courage not so much to endure as to act. We're so occupied in letting live that we haven't even begun to live. Actually, I think that is it. We haven't even begun to learn how to live. We're still a blind, fumbling race of savages crawling up out of the primeval slime, trailing behind our fears and superstitions and prejudices like jungle weeds. We've got to have courage to take our future into our own hands. If the law is oppressive, we must change the law. If tradition is obstructive, we must break tradition. If the system is unjust, we must reform the system.
Yes, but that's what...
Oh, Miss Burton, there you are. Miss Pearson's in a flap. 3 of the boarders are running a temperature and she wants your permission to send for the doctor.
Oh, dear. Yes, I'll come straight away. I'm sorry, Mrs. Beddoes. Please, I know that we don't always see eye to eye, but I know you care. If there is any way of helping...
Well, I would have thought she'll need to stay in bed for at least a week. Maybe even 2.
Oh, I see. Well, I suppose we'll have to wait until I can contact her father. I could always try him at the county hall.
He doesn't like to be disturbed there.
Now then, Midge. The doctor says you have a very fine crop of rich fruity measles.
I can't go home. My father has to go to Ireland. I can't stay there with Elsie if I'm ill. She's rough, and her hands smell of onions, and she's not nice to me. I can't be left there alone ill. I can't. I should die.
Midge, be quiet. Just because you happen to have the measles, that's no reason for behaving like a baby. You're not the only one. I'll telephone your father and he'll come here and discuss things. Of course you won't be sent home to an empty house. Do use your common sense. Here. Try and sit up. Drink your juice. Mr. Khan.
Am I disturbing you? It is late. How's Midge doing?
Midge asked me to wake her when you arrived. We can tell her what we discussed on the telephone. Midge. Midge, your father's here. Come to take you home if you want to go with him. You will have a nurse, so you won't be left alone. And though you may feel rotten for 2 or 3 days, in a week you'll be almost yourself again. But if you prefer it, you can stay here because Nancy has measles now as well as Gwyneth. I'm turning my house into a sanatorium. I've discussed it with your father and you are to do just whichever you prefer.
Daddy, I don't want to be a nuisance.
Nobody's going to let you be a nuisance, Midge.
You're going to Ireland.
Not if you don't want me to.
Doesn't matter if you are at Maythorpe or here. Now stop crying. Try and help us, please, Midge. In both cases, you'll be looked after. You like Gwyneth and Nancy, don't you? I thought they were rather special friends of yours.
Yes, they are, Miss Burton.
Very well, then. If you'd like to share their room, we'll take you round first thing in the morning. I'll drive you personally in my car. How about that?
Oh, thank you, Miss Burton.
Mr. Khan, will you be able to stay until I get back?
Yes, of course. And if there's anything I can do...
Well, so far it's all under control, thank you. Shall I ask Miss Pearson to bring you some tea?
No, I'm quite all right, thank you.
Oh, isn't she wonderful, Daddy? She hasn't left my side once. She's so kind and amusing. And after that stuffy old doctor had finished poking and prodding me, I was so upset. But Miss Burton soon had me smiling again. When Miss Burton comes back, will you both sit with me? I do think she's an angel, don't you?
I think you should be resting, young lady.
Oh, dear Daddy, Why are you so very unhappy?
Midge, you really should try and get some sleep.
Daddy, are you there?
Yes, he's still here, Midge. But he's sleeping just now. You go back to sleep, it's very late.
Poor Daddy. He must be very tired.
Yes. Yes, he must be.
Did you wrap him up warm, Miss Burton?
Yes, I did.
Don't you think he's terribly handsome? I do. I think he's like a prince, not a king. And you, Miss Burton, you are like his beautiful princess. Am I going to die?
No, of course not. You just have a fever, that's all. Go back to sleep now.
What time is it?
It's nearly 3.
Has my father been here all night?
Yes. Try and go back to sleep. Let your father sleep. You've exhausted the poor man. He'll still be here in the morning.
Miss Burton.
Oh dear. Must have dropped off at the table. Good heavens, whatever time is it?
6:30. You've only been out a few moments. Kettle has only just boiled. Here, I made some coffee. You must be shattered.
No, I'll be fine. But you managed to sleep a little.
Yes, thank you, a little.
Midge was a bit delirious last night.
You should have woken me.
Well, it was only the fever. I do think she's over the worst. Can I make you some breakfast, perhaps some eggs?
No, I'll have to be making a move. I want an early start. I have to go to Ireland for a few days. I'm selling some horses out of necessity, I'm afraid. Of course, it won't be an enjoyable visit, but I'll ring you and write to Midge if that's acceptable.
Yes, of course.
I suppose you'll still have to teach today.
Yes, I have. I'll be fine, really. More coffee?
Yes, thank you. Midge is quite taken with you.
Well, I'm also very fond of Midge.
How has she been, truthfully?
Oh, she's getting better.
I didn't mean the measles.
Oh, I see. Well, fine. She's a rather excitable child at times, but she really seems to have settled in this term. She has her friends, and they seem very important to her.
Mrs. Beddoes tells me you've done wonders with her.
Well, she certainly seems to enjoy her time here at school.
I'm very grateful.
Not at all.
Do you believe in curses?
What kind of curses?
When I ran away with my wife, her mother cursed me. Of course, she was mad at the time. My wife is mad now, you know, in an asylum.
Yes, I know.
She was the most beautiful woman I ever saw. She still is, though she hasn't recognized me for almost a year now.
That must be heartbreaking for you.
Yes, it is. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to talk about my problems. What I wanted to ask is, do you think Midge is like her?
Oh, no, not at all. I think she's more like you.
Sometimes I think I'm going mad myself.
That's natural enough. But it's morbid. I've never met anyone more sane.
Do you think so?
Well, yes.
Well, how do you know? You don't even know me. And these days I hardly even know myself. Sometimes I believe I lost myself the day I met Muriel, and if I'm honest, I knew it was, well, it was wrong from the start.
Do you mind me asking how you met?
At Lisle Grange, the Hunt Ball. She wore a scarlet cloak and ran out into the snow in her stocking feet. She was wild and vulnerable, had the most infectious laugh and vivid green eyes. Of course, I fell in love with her instantly. And from that day to this, I have never known for 1 hour peace of mind with her. She has tormented and entrapped me. I spent a fortune renovating Maythorpe. only to let it fall again to a shabby ruin, drawing on my capital to pay debts and hospital fees.
You've had a terrible time, I hadn't realised.
Yes, it's been terribly hard on Midge. And I know some of the girls tease her about her mother. Of course, she doesn't tell me for fear of, for fear she upsets or angers me. But Emma Beddoes lets me know.
But I'm sure it's nothing serious, or it would have been brought to my attention. Midge is really quite popular with her school chums.
I know she can be quite headstrong at times. I suppose she gets that from me. Had I had a son, I should have done a better job, I think. If it wasn't for Emma, I don't know how I would have coped with Midge. There are certain things only a woman understands.
Sarah Burton, it's high time you had a little fun. Who was it who said headmistresses cannot enjoy themselves? As soon as the Easter holidays arrive, I'm going away, as far as I can from stuffy governors and tiresome staff, not to mention bone-idle girls who'd rather stare out of the window than learn anything. Oh, if only I had more girls like Lydia Holly. Poor Lydia. The girl lived to learn. She loved school. And I have failed her. Oh, I look at Midge Khan, pampered and spoilt in her lacy nightdress from Paris, and Nancy frowning at the books her mother has sent her, and Lydia trapped by the burden of responsibility, spending endless days slaving to keep a family who are neither grateful or aware of the great sacrifice she has had to make. How in a world barren of luxury and privilege, her only escape was the thought of college one day. Oh, I cannot bear it. Midge, a letter has come from your father. Would you like me to read it out for you?
Oh, yes, please, Miss Burton.
Dear Midge, I went to Nuthome Sale yesterday. A poor lot of stuff at moderate prices. 700 head of poultry sold poorly at about 2 and 6 apiece. The ewes made up to 50 shillings but looked light. The hogs were little things dearly sold at 10.5 pound. The cattle nothing much and showed want of attention. The horses were a mixed lot, some made up to 35 guineas, but £20 average and not worth that. Furniture at firestick prices. Altogether the cheque would be a small one. The farm is not let. I fear poor Bligh will have about 2,000 acres on hand. I may get over Saturday. Hope you are getting fit. Your affectionate father, Robert George Khan.
Don't you think that my father writes beautiful letters, Miss Burton?
Well, yes. Yes, this is a very friendly one.
Poor Daddy. I expect he's worrying about Nuthome Sale because he's always selling things, and they make so little money.
Yes, well, don't you worry. You just concentrate on getting better, and when your father returns, he'll be delighted that you're well again.
He's always nearly selling horses.
What do you mean, nearly? You can't nearly sell anything, can you, Miss Burton? You talk nonsense, Midge Khan.
Who's asking you, Nancy Pansy? You keep out of it. I was talking to Miss Burton, and Miss Burton is very interested in hearing about my father. Aren't you, Miss Burton?
Well...
You see, Miss Burton, my father is very particular who he sells his horses to.
Oh, Midge Khan, I'm so sick of your silly stories about your father. If he's so wonderful, why is he going bankrupt?
He's not. How dare you?
Now, girls. If you can't be friendly, don't speak at all. Nancy, you should know better.
But it's true, Miss Burton. I've heard my father talking about it.
You're just jealous, just 'cause your father's a common vet.
Midge Khan, that is enough.
He's not common.
And he's a liar.
Oh, shut up, both of you.
It's not fair. It's not fair. No one understands what my father has to put up with. How unhappy he is. Sitting at night over his figures in the gunroom, eating supper alone. They don't understand. No one understands. Cook and Hicks and Mr. Castle have told me stories of how Maythorpe used to be.
Oh, tell us, Midge. Tell her to tell us, Miss Burton.
Would you like to, Midge?
No, I feel too sleepy now.
You would tell us. If it wasn't a lie, you would.
Silver polo cups glittered on the sideboards and important men drank late into the night, celebrating after a long day's hunting, toasting my mother, the bride, the brave, beautiful bride. The lawns were clipped neat like velvet below your feet, and the bedrooms were lit by firelight. And there was hot water and scented soap all the way from Paris. My father and mother were happy and in love, and looking forward to the birth of their baby daughter.
Well, thank you, Midge. That was a lovely story.
I'm sorry, Midge. I didn't mean to call you a liar.
Sometimes I think my father will die of unhappiness. Sometimes I know I shall.
Well, my granny always says men die of good living and women of exhaustion. What do you think, Miss Burton?
I think it's about time you two girls had some fresh juice and homemade biscuits.
Yes!
Yes!
Well, you all sound well enough to me.
Daddy!
Oh, Mr. Khan. We didn't expect you back so soon.
I thought I'd come and take Midge home. That's if she's feeling well enough, of course.
Oh, well, yes, I'm sure she is. Midge, do you feel well enough to go home with your father?
That's not fair. I'll be all on my own.
Now then, Nancy, you've had lots of visitors, haven't you? And Midge has missed her father so. Your letter arrived this morning.
Oh, Daddy, I have missed you. But now I'm almost my old self. Nancy and I are having such fun.
Has she been any trouble, Miss Burton?
Unusually, no. She's been perfectly well behaved. Except, of course, come medicine time.
Oh, but that stuff's horrid.
Well, I suppose if it's all right with Miss Burton, you can stay until she's had enough of you.
Or until Nancy goes home?
We'll see.
On one condition, the pair of you. You'll eat all your supper. No giggling in the dark.
And no telling horrid ghost stories. So will you stay, Daddy? Stay and read to us?
Your father's been travelling all day, Midge. He must be shattered.
Yes, I am rather. But I promise to call you at bedtime.
Well, Sarah, you still don't strike me as being the school mom type.
That's because I refuse to revert to type, Joe. And besides, I love it. I tell you, I'm happy.
Yes, that's true enough. I can see that, but you could do anything. You could go anywhere. And still you choose to bury yourself in a godforsaken sandpit.
Oh, Joe, my dear friend, do I look buried? Do I look half dead? I tell you, I'm alive and I'm happy and I love my work. I love being alive. I love turning giggling little creatures into self-respecting women. I love bullying parents and flirting with fat governors. You ought to see my plans for the new lavatories. I must go. It's a long drive. You going to follow in your car?
No, not right away.
Will you go back inside and out of the cold, Joe? Thank you for a lovely evening. I've enjoyed myself enormously. It's done me the world of good, especially after a week of attending to spotty girls. Still, at least it's the half-term holiday.
How are they?
Oh, we sent the last home a few days ago. Poor little Midge Khan, she's missed her father so. Tell me, Joe, are the rumours true? Is he failing?
Well, I do know that there are many who say that as a spokesman of the smallholders, it's a pity he's made such a mess of his own farming.
A mess?
Well, as I understand it, he'll have to borrow heavily if he's to see this year out.
Good heavens, I didn't realise it had come to that. Of course, it's young Midge Khan I'm worried about.
Well, I hold no sympathy for Khan, and I'm not the only one. He's done himself no favours on the council. He's dead against the new Kiplington Road, knowing full well that if he gets all the men south of the railway line organised to oppose and does a bit of lobbying among the farmers too, you know how they feel when it comes to motorists on holiday resorts.
And will he?
He might, and if he stopped the road, there's no hope for the Leam Ferry Waste housing scheme, and all because he's afraid new developments north will detract from Maythorpe land value. If I were you, Sarah, I wouldn't waste my time worrying about the likes of Khan. In my opinion, the man has asked for everything he gets.
Good night, Joe. Oh, good heavens, Mr. Khan, I didn't expect to see you here.
Good God, woman.
I'm sorry if I startled you. Last time you startled me. In the snow, if you remember.
It's the middle of the night. You're drenched.
Yes, I know. I was just driving back from a concert in Kingsport and my car ran out of petrol a little further down the lane. I thought I'd try up at the house, but it seemed in darkness and... Well, then I saw your light. You look like you've been busy. Was it a difficult labour?
You can't stay here. It's no place for a woman.
You mean it's no place for a man? The cow and I are both females, Mr. Khan. You know, I was brought up with animals. I'm cold. It's a wicked night to be stranded.
Look. Take my jacket.
Thank you.
It was touch and go for a while back there. Thought I was going to lose the little fellow. He was breech. I've been here for hours. I must look a dreadful state, excuse me. Sir, my vet's away and my best man's dead drunk. These things always would have to happen on Saturday night. I suppose you're going to ask me to help you with your car.
Yes. Sorry. If you don't mind. I will pay, of course. For the petrol, I mean.
Yeah, that's the worst thing about cars. Look, if you come back home with me, I'll get the trap ready and drive you home. So I don't own a car, so I have no petrol.
Oh, dear. I'm a nuisance. It's late and you're tired and... It's a beautiful car.
Look, I don't know about you, but I need a drink. Would you like to join me for a nightcap?
Oh, well, yes, I'd love to, thank you.
Good. Here, drink this. It'll warm you up.
Thank you.
I think you should stay here tonight. The lane is flooded, and I don't fancy turning the horse out on a night like this. I'll arrange for Elsie to run you a bath, and you can change out of those wet clothes, if that's all right with you.
Well, yes, thank you. That's not too much trouble.
No, I'd like to. I mean, after all, you did look after Midge. She'll be delighted when she finds you here in the morning.
It's a huge house.
Yes, but the whole place is in desperate need of repair. Actually, it's a damn shambles.
Yes, but it's still in a better state than my cloak rooms.
Yes, I suppose you're right there.
I was just admiring the portrait. I assume it's of your wife.
Yes. Yes, it is. Although the artist had a job, Muriel could never sit still. She wasn't happy unless she was on a horse.
She's astonishingly beautiful.
Yes.
Midge has a look of her.
You know, sometimes when she's a little overexcited, she has the very same wildness in her eyes. Look, it's late, and you must be tired. I'll take you up to Elsie. Why don't you take your drink with you?
Yes, I am exhausted. It's been another long night. We seem to be making a habit of staying up all night together. I mean, what with Midge being ill and... Yes, you're right, it's late. hardly slept a wink. I can't believe I've slept under the same roof as Robert Kahn. What time is it? It's still early. I can't hear any movement. All night I hardly dared breathe. Oh, Sarah Burton, what are you doing? Oh, it's too much. It's all more than I can bear. His face, his voice, the way he spoke of his wife, her portrait. Oh, dear God, what am I to do? Is there no hope for me? Yes? Please come in.
Morning, dear. Master Khan asked me to tell you breakfast will be served in the dining room at 7. Can I get you anything?
Oh, no. No, thank you.
Well, your clothes are still drying, so here's a few of Midge's things. You're only a slim young thing, thank goodness. Else you might have been going home in one of my old frocks, and we couldn't have that now, could we? Are you all right, love? You look a bit pale. It's to be hoped you never caught a chill in the night.
Oh, no, I'm fine, really. Just a little tired.
Little Midge is going to be ever so excited when she realises her headmistress stayed the night.
Yes, she will.
Right, well, I've fires to mend and farmhands to feed, so I'll leave you to it. Oh, and Miss Burton.
Yes?
Master Khan must think a great deal about you. That's his wife's nightdress you're wearing. All the way from Italy, that was. And embroidered the lot. You see there? That's her initials. MC.
Is it true? Is it true, Daddy? Did Miss Burton help you with the baby calf? And is she staying for breakfast? And is she to wear some of my clothes?
Yes, yes, it is true, Midge. And I must say, clothes fit me perfectly.
Oh, Miss Burton, they do. Look, Daddy, Miss Burton has on my tunic.
Miss Burton is exhausted, Midge. Don't pester her. Pour the tea.
Oh, I can't wait to go back to school and tell the other girls.
Stop showing off, Midge, and pour Miss Burton's tea.
Sugar, Miss Burton? Oh, Miss Burton, isn't this lovely? Didn't Elsie and I keep up good fires? We knew Daddy might be back late, but you being with him. And my things fit you perfectly. Elsie's going to dry your own clothes while we have breakfast.
Your car is filled with petrol. I mean when you're ready.
Thank you.
How's Castle, Daddy?
Oh, not so good.
Oh, we're out of milk. Excuse me, Miss Burton. I'll just pop and fetch some more.
Is Castle a friend of yours?
He's my foreman and a shrewd farmer. I've come to rely upon his practical judgment over the years. We used to go out ferreting together as schoolboys. None of us are what we were. He's dying and I'm broke.
I'm sorry.
Oh, don't be. Castle's not. He says it's for the best. He doesn't like change. Socialists like your friend Joe Estelle think it's us employers who begrudge the unemployed their dole and try and stop progress. It's the old workers like Castle who are far harder on them.
And no doubt he wishes we were all back in our proper places.
Yes. I can't lie. I wish that too.
Hey, Master Khan, you got time for a brew?
No, not today, thank you, Dolly.
Hey, you don't look so good yourself, if you don't mind me saying so.
Oh, well, not so bad. Just need a good night's sleep. I was up all night with that little Jersey cow. It was touch and go for a bit, but we managed to save her calf.
Hey, smashing. And how did you find me dad?
Well, he seemed a little brighter this morning.
Hey, that'll be an aid to you, Master Khan. He always chirps up when you come to see him. If it weren't for you and Naylor visiting him, well, I don't know what.
Naylor's up there with him now.
I bet he is, the old devil. Hey, he's no sooner in the door than he's falling asleep in front of fire, and me dad says not to wake him, what with it being lambing season. Hey, I haven't the heart to tell him it's not the long days lambing that's wearing him out. It's hard nights drinking.
I'll come by again tomorrow.
Hey, how's little Miss Khan up at high school, I hear?
Well, oh, it's early days yet.
Hey, she's not been to see the newborn lambs yet.
Well, I'm afraid it's all homework these days.
It's not like Midge to miss feeding the little ones. She must be quite taken with her studies.
Well, it's not her studies so much as the new headmistress. Anyway, I'd better be making tracks.
Is that the blacksmith's daughter everyone's talking about?
Yes, I suppose it must be.
Yeah, pretty wild thing with a fast tongue in her head, I've heard.
Yes.
I've been working down south London, they say.
Yes.
What's she come back here for, I say?
Well, I don't know.
No, I'm 40, never married. Something's not right there.
Well, you've never married yourself, have you, darling?
No, that's not for one to try and mind. Any road, I've enough to do with keeping an eye on the farmhands and tending to me father.
Well, no doubt Miss Burton has enough on her plate running the high school.
Aye, happen you're right. Happen she has. But why here? It's hardly the hub of the universe, and her being an educated woman and all. Any road, I can see 'em keeping you. Well, good day, Master Khan.
Come in.
Ah, I thought I'd find you here.
I'm afraid there's one or two loose ends to tie up before I can even begin to think about the Easter holidays. Please sit down.
Oh, I can't stay. I'm just on my way to Maythorpe. I'm having Midge to stay over Easter. Her father's busy and she misses school, so
Yes, I know. And who wouldn't after that great, gloomy, isolated house?
Really?
Yes, I was driving home and ran out of petrol. I went to get help. I saw a light on in the barn. Khan's Jersey cow was having a difficult labour.
I didn't know. You never told me.
I don't suppose it ever entered his head again, despite my help. Oh, I'm sorry you came to see me.
Yes. Oh, it's nothing important, dear. I was just wondering if you'd like to come to tea on Sunday. But if you're busy, I'll quite understand.
No, I'd love to. Will there be any other guests?
I shouldn't think so. I had thought of asking Robert, but he's so stretched at the moment, what with his form and so ill.
Castle? Yes, how is the poor man? He and Robert sound so close. He seems to be taking it rather badly.
Yes, he is. Well, until Sunday, then.
Why don't you kiss me again? I hate you, I loathe you, despise and detest you. Oh, why don't you
Lily, come on. There. You don't want to be waking Mum up, do you now? Here, suck on this nice stick of rhubarb. Is that good? Yeah. Well, then be flipping quiet. Mum, I brought you a... Mum? Where the heck is she? Mum! Oh, God, please don't let out bad happen to her. Mum! No. Where is she? God, I promise not to moan no more. I promise to forget school, forget books, and not even care about learning anything again, as long as I live. I promise not to get mad all the time and clean up without hating everyone. Only please just let Mam walk up the lane now. Oh, Mam, where are you? Oh, woeful day. Most lamentable day. Most woeful day that ever I did yet behold. Oh, day. Oh, a hateful day. Never was seen so black a day as this. And go, Sir Paris, everyone to prepare to follow this fair course unto her grave. The heavens do lower upon you for some ill. Move them no more by crossing their high will. Essay prize, Lydia Holly. Maths prize, Lydia Holly. Form prize, Lydia Holly. High average for the year, Lydia Holly. Sports Junior Championship, Lydia Holly. Oh, no. Other girls who care now about these things. They'll get the marks, win the prizes, take the scholarships, be clapped at prize giving, go to college. It isn't fair. None of them care like I do. None of them. I hate them. I hate God. I hate Sarah Burton. Why did you ever let me go to school? Why did you make someone like me clever?
Lydia!
You'd better come through, Lydia. She wants you.
Is there a baby?
Yes, a little boy.
Will she get better?
You'd better go to her, dear. She's asking for you.
Boy, I know. You'll have to look after him.
Yes, I know. Don't worry, Mother.
You'll have to let the parish bury me.
Yeah, I know.
I wanted to wait for your dad.
I know.
I'm sorry, Lyd.
So am I, Mum. So am I.
You, yes you, sit down, girl, and shut your stupid face. You might think you're lady of the manor, but...
Lydia, what on earth are you doing in school at this time of night?
I wasn't touching anything, and I ain't pinching out either.
I didn't think that for one moment.
No, well, don't think it didn't enter my head, 'cause it did.
Oh, I see.
Any road, this was my desk.
Yes, I know.
So who sits here now, then?
Well, no one, Lydia. It's ready for you whenever you come back.
What, when I'm an old granny with no teeth and white hair?
Now you know that's silly.
Do I?
Don't you?
I'll tell you what is silly, shall I? This classroom and all these stupid desks. Just look at them.
Lydia, come on, get down.
I thought you said it was my desk.
Yes, it is, but you might fall.
I'm the king of the castle and you're the dirty rascal.
Lydia, please. Look, I can see that you're angry, but
I'm the king of the castle and you're the dirty rascal.
Lydia, please, tell me what's happened.
She's dead, miss.
Oh, Lydia, I'm so sorry.
Looks so small, you know. Me desk. I mean, daft, didn't it? But I thought it was massive. Just looks like a toy now. She had a boy.
Is he well?
If you mean is he hungry all the flipping time and forever needing changing, then yeah, he bloody is.
Have you a name for him?
Yeah, we have. It's called Ratface.
We need courage, not so much to endure as to act. All this resignation stunts us. We're so busy resigning ourselves to the inevitable that we don't even ask if this is the inevitable. We're so much occupied in letting live that we haven't begun to live. That's it. That's it. We haven't even begun to learn how to live yet. We've got to have the courage to take our future into our own hands. If the law is oppressive, we must change the law. If tradition is obstructive, we must break tradition. If the system is unjust, we must reform the system. Take what you want, says God, take it and pay for it. Yes, but who pays? It was the start of the Easter holidays. Lydia Holly's mother had died in childbirth and her worst fears had been realised. There would be no more dreams of college. Mrs. Beddoes had invited me to join her and her family for Sunday tea, and I'd hoped this would be an ideal opportunity to appeal to the woman for help. But the talk was fixed on family affairs, on James this and Ernest that, on illness and income. I was growing impatient and started to feel foolish.
You see, he was the inspector appointed for the new elementary schools. Anyway, I asked him, if you had two candidates for a teaching post before you with equal qualifications in every way, but one used lipstick and one did not, which would you appoint? He never even hesitated. The girl who didn't plaster with paint the face God gave her, Mrs. Beddoes. So you see, even you modern educationalists sometimes see eye to eye with us old-fashioned people.
I don't know if you'd call me a modern educationist, but I certainly don't agree with the inspector. If I had two candidates before me and they had equal qualifications, but one looked as though she washed her face in sunlight soap and dried it on the hockey field, and the other looked as though she could hold down the post of head mannequin at Molyneux's, but had chosen to teach instead, I should take the mannequin every time. I should be sure that her influence on the girls would be far wider, more exhilarating and more healthy.
Yes. More tea, Miss Burton?
No, I'm fine, thank you.
So, you mentioned that you'd seen Maythorpe?
Yes, on Easter Sunday.
Of course, it's not what it was. I remember one Christmas I attended a dance there. It was when I was a girl, when Robert's grandfather was master. Even the kitchen was decorated with holly, hanging from the rafters between the salt hams and puddings. There was a fiddler on the back stairs, feast of cake and fruit and pasties, wine and whiskey.
I noticed his wife's portrait. She was very beautiful.
Yes, she was, the poor dear. She's in a private asylum, you know. I know he struggles to find the fees each month.
Yes, now she hardly knows him. And he blames himself for marrying her in the first place.
He told you that?
Oh, and as for believing her mother cursed him, it seems ridiculous to me.
That may be so. But it's Midge we should be thinking about.
Oh, Midge is fine. A little prone to temper tantrums, but she's found herself a few friends now and she's happy enough. Now, as for Lydia Holly...
Ah, yes, a sorry business.
It is monstrous for a child to find that the thing she feared most has actually happened.
You're just dwelling on the bad side of things. She loved her mother and her family. She'll cope. She'll have to. And then one day, when she's a family of her own, she'll soon see the benefits.
Benefits? What benefits? She's had to sacrifice her own happiness for the sake of what? Her mother's weakness and her father's lust. I don't see why any woman has to sacrifice her own beliefs, happiness and personal goals for the sake of husband and family.
Perhaps before she realised she had a choice, it was too late. Or maybe she knew she had no choice. That was her husband's prerogative.
I'm sorry, I cannot accept that.
It's not your place to be judge and jury over the lives of your pupils' families.
Mrs. Beddoes, I have known poverty and hardship. I've watched my mother struggle. As a child, I saw my sister Patty crippled by a fall from my father's arms. He was drunk. I've had to watch my mother robbed of life, beauty and love. I have seen her give up. Just before I came to the South Riding, I was in love with a man, a member of Parliament. He wanted to marry me, and I wanted to marry him. That is, until he demanded that I abandon in his political interests my profession.
And you say you loved him?
Yes, but I also love teaching.
And you have no regrets?
I made my decision. What was the point? I couldn't go back. It seems to me, Mrs. Beddoes, that you perhaps have the best of both worlds. You are a wife, a mother, and a respected alderman.
When I first married Jim Beddoes, he appeared so gay, genial, even courageous, sturdy, reliable Yorkshire man, or so I thought. As the years passed, I began to realise that I'd fallen for nothing more than a superficial front. And then blamed myself for failing to change him. I once believed that a successful wife could transform her husband into whatever pattern she chose for him. Now I've learnt to accept him as he is.
Isn't that just giving up?
I don't believe I've given up. Only accepted what some people never seem to realise, that Emma Beddoes, county alderman and local celebrity, does not and never will dominate her own household.
And you're happy? No regrets?
I married a dapper little man with a core of jealous bitterness. But I'm fortunate. When my own affairs become intolerable, I can throw myself into my public work. And I've got Sybil and Chloe and...
And Midge and Robert Kahn. He obviously relies on cares for you a great deal.
Yes. Yes, I believe he does. Right, well, let's get down to business, shall we? I hereby state that the Public Assistance Committee for the Cold Harbour Division of the South Riding be open.
First up is Millicent Ethel Roper, single woman, 61, occupies one room in private belonging to Esther Snag, widow, rent 5 and 6pence. She's crippled with rheumatism.
It says here she does a little charring.
Only when she can.
Surely the woman either does or she doesn't. And if she does, then why on earth is she asking for public assistance?
I suspect that she has her good days and her bad days, Robert. In damp weather, rheumatism can be terribly crippling.
Only living relative, married sister in Barrow-in-Furness. This sister used to send her a little money, but her husband, a riveter, is now unemployed, so the gifts have stopped. No other resources.
She ought to be in an institution.
She's very insistent that she doesn't want to go there. She has declared that most of the year she's self-supporting.
So she only needs help over the bad times.
Well, it would serve us all well to be given a handout over bad times.
Had she ever had any other calling?
Dressmaker, but her hands are too crippled now.
Well, we better see her.
Miss Roper, we're ready to see you now.
Come here to the table, can you, Miss Roper? Please sit down, won't you? You used to be a dressmaker.
Yes, I was. Till I lost the right use of my hands. Look at 'em. Bundles of carrots at first, you could have called 'em. Bundles of potatoes now, more like. See?
How long is it since you've been able to sew, Miss Roper?
Well, that's hardly relevant, Con. It's clearly obvious you cannot now.
No, I don't mind saying, Mistress Dell. 6 years now. I sold my machine. A beauty. Treadle it was.
And then you did office work?
Charring. Scrubbing whenever I could get it. Many's the time I've done these here offices and not before it needed it. You'd be surprised the amount of muck folk carry on their feet. Just like you'd never guess the muck and sweat they get on their clothes. Till you start remodelling.
And recently you have not been able to do even much cleaning.
No. Look at me hands. Look at me knees. I mean, look at that. Would you like to kneel on that scrubbing steps?
No, of course not.
Don't you think you'd be better in an institution?
Yes, we do have those nice buildings up South Street. You'd have proper medical attention and no worry there.
I dare say I should. But I'm quite happy with Mrs. Snag. All I want is a bit of summat to hold me rent and a bit to live on. And then I can manage till it gets me old age pension like.
But aren't you very lonely in that back bedroom? In South Street you'd have companions of your own age and much more comfort.
Oh, it's not comfort you want. It's a bit of fun. Lonely? Not me. Why, there's Mrs. Snag, as nice a lady as you could wish for. Reads the teacups and can tell a story as good as anyone in Yarrow. And there's her daughter and grandchildren popping in and out. I keep an eye on 'em for her when she needs it. And then there's the whist drives. I always go. When I can get someone to pay me ticket. And we divide the prizes. I'm right lucky with cards. You've no idea. And there's my gentleman friend, Mr. Barnes, you know.
And then why don't you marry him? He's a widower, isn't he?
Yes, but you see, it's this way, Mr. Khan. He promised his dear wife, Mary Ellen Barnes, as nice a woman as I ever wished to meet, he'd never marry again if she was taken from him. So he can't now, can he?
Well, it seems preposterous that just because of a minor point of delicacy, the ratepayer should have to provide for Carrier Barnes's beloved, especially when he possesses a good-sized cottage and a business which, if modest, is certainly adequate to support a couple.
But he doesn't want to get married, and neither do I.
Miss Roper, you must appreciate our position.
Aye, I do. And you must appreciate mine and all, Mrs. Beddoes. I dare say Ricky would help me, but I'm a primitive and a Christian, and I don't believe in ladies taking presents from their gentlemen friends. Do you?
Well, No, I don't.
Oh, this modern compassionate marriage and what you read in papers, it may suit some, but I've always paid my own rent and been self-respecting, and if you'd let me have me rent and a bag of flour and a grocery order and perhaps a sack of coals to see me through the winter, I should get on nicely, no trouble to anyone.
I take it you like your independence, Miss Roper.
Aye, I do that. Well, don't you?
Yes, I do, Miss Roper. So, has any member of the committee any further questions that they would like to ask Miss Roper? Then perhaps you'd like to wait outside, Miss Roper.
Goodbye and cheerio, I'm sure.
Well, we can hardly ask the woman to live in sin to save ratepayers' pockets, can we, Mrs. Beddoes?
Well, I'm afraid I'm with you on this, Estelle. That wouldn't be right. And she does seem perfectly willing to work. The poor woman's terribly deformed. Khan? Very well, let it be put on record that Miss Roper should receive 8 shillings a week and a grocery order.
What a wonderful day. Oh, you've missed a bit. Come here. Let me. It's years since I've walked the promenade eating ice cream with a handsome young man. You're very quiet, Joe.
Oh, I'm just a little tired. I was in a public assistance meeting this morning. It's always a grim business fighting the battle for humanity. An extra 2 shillings here, a grocery order or a sack of coal there. It's hardly satisfying. And as for your friend Khan, he's nothing but a damn objector and interrupter, safeguarding the ratepayers. Aye, safeguarding his own skin, more like.
Really, Joe, Robert Khan is hardly a friend of mine. Besides, I find the man the most pompous, arrogant snob. We are natural antagonists. I'm opposed to everything he stands for. Besides, he thoroughly dislikes me. Joe, I know what that look means. And I assure you, I have no desire to be Robert Khan's anything. Hello, Kiplington 396. Patty. Yes, of course I'm coming. I was just about to leave. Listen, I'm going to stop over in Manchester on the way to do a little shopping, so I'll call you from there. Oh, and Patty, I feel I should warn you, the subject of Robert Khan is totally off the agenda for the whole holidays. I'm determined to have some fun. Yes, I'm serious. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye. Could I have a bunch of the yellow roses, please?
You bonny lass like you shouldn't be buying flowers for yourself.
Actually, they're for my sister.
Here, allow me.
No, really, Mr. Khan!
Thank you. I believe these are for you.
Good heavens, I don't know what to say. I mean, thank you, they're lovely. Well, what are you doing here?
Well, I'm here on business. I'm staying at the Piccadilly.
Yes, so am I. Well, just for one night. I go off tomorrow morning. I don't know about you, but I'm hot and exhausted. I sympathise with housewives, and afternoon shopping's more exhausting than 20 speech days. I must look frightful. I've had no tea. I've got a terrible room on the 5th floor that looks like a scene from a Russian tragedy. I can't face it until I've had a glass of sherry. Perhaps you'd care to join me? Unless you're rushing away to dine somewhere.
Yes, I'd like that. Here, let me help you with your parcels. Here's your sherry.
Thank you. Only this is mine. For the lovely flowers, I insist.
Very well. But then you must dine with me, unless you have another engagement. I ordered you dry sherry. Do you like it?
No. I mean, yes. Yes, I love dry sherry, and no, I haven't got another engagement. I'd love to have dinner with you. How's Midge getting on with Mrs. Beddoes?
Oh, much better. She's just fine.
Oh, I am pleased. Yes, it was a good idea, sending her to stay with Mrs. Beddoes, I mean.
Yes, I know.
So when are you going back? Home, I mean.
The day after tomorrow.
Well, Midge will be glad to see you. She talks about you with such affection. Always.
Does she?
Yes.
Well, I'll be bringing her home for the last week of the holidays.
Well, that's good.
I mean, though, of course, Mrs. Beddoes has said she's welcome to stay, and maybe she's right. She needs a little fun in her life.
She's a good woman, Mrs. Beddoes. You seem very close.
Yes, we are.
Well, if I'm to freshen up and write a note, which I should do, I suppose I'd better get a move on. What time shall we dine?
7:30? Would that suit you? Or 7:45?
7:30, why not? I am hungry, so... Till then. Oh, my parcels.
No, leave them. I'll have a porter bring them up. What floor did you say?
5th floor, room 517. Oh, how lovely. He was pleased to see me. I know he was pleased to see me. Oh, this is a dream. I shall wake up. No, be sensible. He is a governor of the school. I am the headmistress. I've been good to Midge. He's grateful. He couldn't not ask. He feels obliged. I wonder if I should wear my hair up. What shall I wear? Have I kept you waiting?
Exactly 1 minute, 35 seconds.
Do you know, I'm going to thoroughly enjoy this meal. I'm really quite hungry. Shall we order wine? Is your room small? What lovely music. Oh, dear, I'm sorry I'm talking too much. Oh, shut up, Sarah. You're making a fool of yourself. It's only a meal, for goodness sake. Breathe, sit up straight, smile and be confident. He likes you, or he would never have invited you to dinner. He's lonely. He needs female company. I could be anyone. That was a lovely meal. Did you enjoy it? Only you hardly touched a thing.
No. I thought I was hungry, but, Look, do you like dancing?
Oh, I love it. But I haven't danced in over a year, I think.
Well, nor I. But for far more than that. You like it?
What woman doesn't? I mean, do you remember the wartime dance mania? Were you ever at the Grafton Galleries?
Once.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to rouse unwelcome memories.
No, you didn't. So, what about this dancing?
Well, what about it? It might be quite agreeable.
Well, there doesn't seem to be much else to do in Manchester. Unless you like those film things.
I don't suppose there's a good film on. And I'm sure you loathe them.
I'm sure I would. So, dancing it is then?
Yes, why not? I cannot bear it. If I dance with him, I'm lost. It's not real, it's impossible. When did he last dance, and with whom? Oh, I'm not jealous of his wife, of any woman he has held. Perhaps he'll hardly notice me. Perhaps he'll think I'm Muriel. Perhaps he'll forget I'm someone and only remember that he's enjoying himself. You dance very well, considering you haven't had much practice.
Well, perhaps it's like riding a horse.
Or a bicycle. Never forget.
You feel its rhythm and move with it.
Well, I have a train to catch at 8 o'clock, and I still have all those parcels to pack.
Won't you let me get you another drink?
I've drunk enough, far more than is seemly in a headmistress on holiday.
I'd forgotten you were a headmistress. But if you must go...
Don't you think we shall both be tired?
Well, then why not just sit?
Well, it is still early. I doubt I'll sleep very well. It's so hot. So you don't have to hurry away, then?
No. No, as a matter of fact, I've got to spend some time looking for somewhere for my wife.
I'm sorry. Must be a grim business.
Yes, it is. But necessary.
So, must she come to Manchester?
Perhaps. I may be getting a job here at a riding school.
But are you going to leave Maythorpe?
Not if I can help it. But it's as well to have a second string to your bow. Depends what the government does for us. And the market. And the season, too. Can't tell in farming. Depends on so many things outside yourself.
Are you thinking of selling up, then?
The place is not mine to sell. It belongs to the bank. And the bank's in Snaith's pocket. And he wants the farm for his lunatics. It's ironic, don't you think? Muriel's destined for a state asylum, and Maythorpe's fated to become one.
It's natural enough to think that, but it's morbid.
You once said you think you know me.
I still do. I think I do.
You've watched me.
I don't know what you mean.
And you know me, eh? You see how I crack up in emergencies, how they've got me down.
No, they haven't.
They've got me down. They'll sell Maythorpe over my head. Castle's dying. Midge is better off with Mrs. Beddoes. Muriel doesn't even know me. And I'm giving you a hell of an evening.
No.
You don't want to leave me? This is not the end.
No, it need not be.
Sarah. Do you mean that?
I mean anything you like.
Do you mean that I need not be alone tonight?
Yes, I mean that.
May I come to your room?
Yes. It's the
5th floor, room 517.
Wait half an hour. I will comfort him for just one night. Oh, this is the end. The end of security as a respectable professional woman. But I mean to have him, drunk or sober. Robert. What on earth's the matter? Are you feeling ill? Robert, here. Let me help you.
I'll be fine in a moment.
What is it? Are you in pain?
No, it's all right. I know what it is. It's my heart. I just need a moment.
You look dreadful. I'm going to call a doctor.
No. Nitrate of amyl. A little tin. In my waist pocket. No. In my room. 106. First floor. Here's my key. I'm dreadfully sorry.
Oh, my God. I should tell the hall porter. I heard him here in the passage groaning, and I got him to my room. No, they know he's on the first floor. I shall say he knew me. I'm his daughter's school teacher. He felt ill and came to me for advice and fainted. Oh, I shouldn't have left him. What if he dies? I'll be ruined. What if he dies and a doctor could have saved him, and yet I did not fetch one? Oh, I will be guilty of his murder. This is my fault entirely. I made him dance, encouraged him to drink. I let him come to me. It was all too much for him, the heat, the excitement. What if I return and he's dead already? My God, what will I do? Oh, Robert, what are you doing to me? I'm being punished. I know it. I should never have had dinner. I should never have dared to dream. I should never have wanted him. Oh, if he dies, I would have killed him. It's only me. Robert. Oh, my dear Robert.
Did you get it?
Yes, here. I'm going to call the doctor.
No. The ammo will do it.
I feel so useless.
It's passing. I'll be right in a few minutes.
Do you know what it is?
Angina. This stuff's marvellous. Campbell gave it to me. It's the only thing.
Shh. Don't talk now. Just rest a little. Listen, I'm going to leave you for a moment. I shall tell them you felt unwell. So you came to me, the only person you know in the hotel. I'm your daughter's schoolmistress. They won't suspect anything.
You don't look it. There's no need. No one can do anything. I'm all right. I can lie here for a few minutes. If you let me rest a little.
Shall I put the light on? Fetch you a glass of water?
No. Lie with me for a while.
He's thinking about his wife. I deserve this. This story cannot have a happy end. It did not even have a happy beginning. I couldn't even amuse him for one evening. I have nothing, not even the joy of losing him, for he was never mine. It's been weeks now since my night with Robert Kahn. I've spent night after endless night going through it all in my mind. Why hasn't he contacted me? What if he's too ill? What if he blames me? Oh, I cannot bear it. I was drunk, intoxicated by the thrill of it all, and lost my senses. I was foolish to believe it would end in anything but heartache and regret. Goodness sake, he is a governor. I am a headmistress. I teach his daughter, and now I have to face Mrs. Beddoes, knowing how close she is to him. What if she senses something is wrong? What if he has told her? She'll be horrified. She'll demand my resignation. My reputation will be ruined, and for what?
Vote for Dolan. Come today and save your country. Don't let reactions strangle local government.
Hello, Miss Burton.
Hello, Barbara.
This is me grandmiss.
Why, hell, it's a grander turnout than usual, love. Mind you, I heard they're serving tea and cakes. Can you tell us where, love?
Yes, Mrs. Laverick, they are. Next to the refectory.
They were, love.
She's a bit mutton, miss.
Oh, for goodness sake, Barbara, take your gran to the staff dining room.
I won't mind to sit down now, Babs.
Oh, come on, Gran. You are here to vote, you know.
Joe? Joe? Excuse me.
Today? Is he mad?
You tell me.
Well, I'm sure he has his reasons.
Oh, I'm sure he has. But whatever way you look at it, it comes under corrupt practices. Giving a free feast to the villagers on election day, they could sue him for it.
The castle was his foreman and his friend. Surely it's a mark of respect for the man.
Come on, Sarah. You know as well as I do that Khan's in trouble. He's near closing on the farm. The man's in debt, and now with Snaith's lawsuit against him, he'll be ruined.
Lawsuit?
You mean to say you didn't know? I thought you made it your business to know everything there is about the man. You're slipping up, Sarah.
Joe, be serious. Tell me.
Snaith's going to bring a libel action against him.
A libel suit? That'll be sure to ruin him. Why?
He's spreading scandal, accusing councillors of buying up land so that they can sell it to the council later. The land is a proposed site for the new housing scheme.
Which means the rates will go up, and that means opposition. Can't. And I suppose there are two ways of getting rid of obstructionists. Get them off the council and ruin them.
The South Riding needs this new housing scheme. You need it. You know how much you want to improve the school. Well, if this housing scheme goes through, it won't mean just improvements. It could mean new buildings. You could double your intake of pupils. Sarah, ask yourself this. Why did Mrs. Holly die? Because she gave birth to a child under impossible conditions. The shacks are unsanitary and unfit for human consumption. You've seen them. They must go.
And they'll be rehoused as part of the new housing scheme.
The Leam Ferry Garden Village, yes. It's the only way.
Ah, Estelle, there you are. I believe Huggins and Snaith are looking for you.
Oh, excuse me, Sarah. Think about it. I'll talk to you later.
So, how are you coping, turning your school hall into a circus?
Well, I don't know. It's rather thrilling, welcoming the whole community into the school.
And offering cream teas.
Mrs. Beddoes, I assure you, if you think the money has come from the school funds, then you're wrong.
It's not where it comes from, it's why.
Why? No, you tell me, Mrs. Beddoes. Why has Calm decided to hold Castle's funeral on election day? And why is everyone also thrilled at the prospect of a free feast at Maythorpe? We do have refreshments on offer, yes, but at a small price. The upper fifths have been baking in their own spare time. All in a good cause. To raise money for the school funds.
I don't doubt that for a moment. But whilst folk are here, enjoying your hospitality, looking around your school, seeing the stage of the place, listening to all the improvements you've dreamed up, well, happen they might just vote for the man who's driving around the streets promoting new housing and new schools.
If that were true, which it is certainly not, Dolan would certainly get my vote. Though I'm sure you would say a wasted one, as I know you still hang on to the ridiculous notion that Robert Carr might win.
I know what they're saying. And I know who they want. And I also know what it means for Robert. I don't know about you, Miss Burton, but I don't believe in kicking a man when he's down. Especially a man I'm proud to call a dear friend. Miss Burton, Castle died 2 days ago. He was a big man, and we're in the middle of a heat wave. Khan was all for putting it off till tomorrow. But Hicks and Pudsey agreed it had to be today. The body was stinking the place out. Now, if you'll excuse me, I think I'll treat myself to one of your cream teas before I go and face Widow Castle.
I am the resurrection and the life, saith the Lord. We brought nothing into the world, and it is certain we can carry nothing out. The Lord gave, and the Lord hath taken away. Blessed
After
be the
you.
name of the Lord.
Thank you, Robert. It's a fine turnout. Is there to be a traditional wake at Maythorpe?
Yes. Yes, of course.
I said I will take heed to my ways, that I offend not in my tongue. I will keep my mouth as it were a bridle, while the ungodly is in my sight.
There are some who say you've deliberately chose to have the funeral today, you know.
Yes, I know. And you? What do you think?
You know what I think, Robert. I'm proud of you.
Hot within me, and while I was thus musing, the fire kindled, and the last I spake, my tongue did magnify the Lord.
Well, you did Castle proud, Robert. No doubt all the men will be singing in the Nag's Head by now.
Yes. And no doubt Snaith and Dolan are celebrating their success.
Yes, that's true enough.
Well, they think they've got me where they want me. My lawyers think me a fool. Perhaps I am. Perhaps I should never have started this whole business. But damn it, Snaith is a thief and Huggins a cheating swindler. If I'm to go down beaten, I might just as well go down in a grand uproar as retire meekly. If I could expose this scandal before I went, I would at least leave my mark on the county. Then I'd not be forgotten.
So, are you still thinking of giving up Maythorpe?
Yes. The bank must take it, and if they decide to sell it to the Public Health Committee, then that's their business.
Today must have set you back a pretty penny.
I promised to stand by Mrs. Castle. Castle and the boys adored Muriel, you know.
Yes, I know. Many did.
Said she rode like a wild cat. Loving Muriel has cost me a great deal. And yet, till recently, I've never even asked myself if she was worth it.
And are you now?
I don't know. Lately, I'm not sure of anything.
Robert, you mustn't be so hard on yourself.
If I hadn't forced myself upon her. Dr. McLennan said there's nothing they can do for her. I've known it for a long time. The place is expensive because the treatment there is to effect cures. But there is no cure for Muriel. They can do nothing for her now. Nothing except keep her warm and clean.
You've had a hell of a day. And I suppose I should really be thinking of going home.
Yes. A hell of a day. Emma, stay and have a top-up.
Yes. Why not? Might help me sleep. I don't know what's wrong with me. Most nights I'm still wide awake for the dawn chorus. Oh, listen to me, carrying on. You must think me a right old fool, Robert.
Not at all. I've been talking to my solicitors this week, and I wanted to ask you a tremendous favour. Don't answer now, think it over. If anything happened to me, would you be Midge's guardian?
Oh, my dear boy, I'm old enough to be your mother.
Well, I dare say. But you're young enough in some ways to be my daughter. And I was nearly knocked down by a taxi in Manchester recently. If anything happened to me, the child would be rather lost. And she wouldn't be a financial burden. I do know how Jim can be. I've kept up my insurance, 5,000 when I'm 60, or if I die before that. It's hers, of course. Only, I want to be sure I'm not putting too much on you.
No. No. I love the child. I'd do anything.
I know you would. I exploit your good nature. I always have done.
I don't think you know how fond I am of you.
Perhaps I do. By the way, that reminds me. I have a little present for you too.
For me?
Yes. I want you to have it.
Oh. Have I to open it now?
Yes, if you wish.
Oh, Robert. I don't know what to say.
I want you to have it.
But are you sure? Isn't this the brooch you bought for Muriel after Midge was born?
Yes.
But surely you'd want Midge to have it.
Midge has a whole lifetime to wear beautiful things. This is for you to enjoy.
Sorry, I must have dropped off. I'm sorry if I startled you.
No, not at all. You just looked... Well, I wasn't expecting to see you. You must be shattered.
That's only to be expected at election time. As you know, Dolan got in. He's a good man. I hope you didn't mind me waiting for you.
No, of course not. Actually, I'm glad you came by. I've got some happy news about Lydia Holly. Her father has met a reasonably wealthy widow. Apparently she's famed all over the South Riding for her splendid rabbit pies. They plan to marry soon and she's taking the whole family to live with her. Which, of course, means Lydia can come back to school in the new autumn term.
A happy ending.
Yes, a very happy ending.
And Khan, have you seen him since he lost the election?
No. No, I haven't.
But that's not why I'm here. I came to wish you luck. This is the great morning of your grand inspection, isn't it?
Yes. Yes, I think she's coming in about half an hour. How nice of you.
Well, you'll be all right. The school's all right. You're doing a grand piece of work. You're very much appreciated here in the South Riding, you know.
Oh, Joe, thank you. You're very kind. Come in. Miss Jameson, what can I do for you? Don't tell me Miss Teasdale's here already.
No, Miss Burton, it's not Miss Teasdale, it's Mr. Khan. I told him you were with someone, but he insisted he doesn't look very happy, actually. He appears to be in rather a rage.
Oh, does he?
Fighting talk. Do you want me to stay?
No, thank you, Joe. Miss Jameson, go and tell Mr. Khan that I'll be free in 10 minutes. If he'd be good enough to wait, I can see him then. In a moment, Khan will be here. I've waited all through the summer holidays for him to write or call me. Anything just to know how he is. Since we met in Manchester, I've not been able to think about anything else. I've tortured myself because he was ill and that he might be dying. Was he embarrassed? Was he shocked or sickened by my crude pursuit? Or what was I thinking of? Why did I have to spoil it? I could have helped him. I could have been his friend. I could have comforted him. Come in. Mr. Khan, good morning. You're quite a stranger. Won't you sit down?
Good morning. I couldn't come to the last governor's meeting.
So I understood.
But I just got the minutes, and I see that you've managed to persuade the other governors to promise you fresh buildings if the new housing estate goes through.
I shall need them.
It's perfectly ridiculous.
Don't you realise that I shall probably double my numbers?
Who's going to pay for them?
The ratepayers and the Board of Education.
The ratepayers? Because the rates have gone up, I suppose you think you can get anything.
Not at all. I only ask for what is reasonable. I feel I may be more likely to get it now.
Since the elections?
Yes. The new county council seems quite sensible.
Because people like me aren't there any longer?
Perhaps.
I suppose you think because I've been got rid of from the council, I'm going to retire from all public work. You're wrong.
I hadn't thought very much about it.
You're very thick with Snaith and Estelle. Perhaps you don't know that they have been organising one of the worst pieces of corruption that has been practised in the South Riding Council since it started.
I've heard that you've been saying so, but it isn't proved yet.
Or you're hoping that I shall resign from the Board of Governors and leave you a free hand?
I hadn't thought about it.
Then I'm telling you I shall do nothing of the kind. I intend to stay as long as I can. I shall denounce your fine friends and do my utmost to keep down your mad extravagance.
I warn you, you are making a fool of yourself. You think you can stop progress and reason. You can't. Any more than you can make the moon stand still.
Why should you think that your ways are progressive?
I know what I'm doing.
Do you?
I can't understand why you let me keep your daughter at my school if that's what you think of me. But let me tell you, it's no privilege for us to keep her. She is without exception the most tiresome, hysterical, unwholesome, worst-mannered child I have ever had to deal with. And I shall be delighted if you take her away.
You are asking me to remove my daughter.
I shall be delighted. You may think as a governor you confer an extraordinary privilege on the school by leaving her here. I assure you that really we can do quite well without her. And without her father on the board.
The matter hardly rests in your hands.
Oh, really? I do love your notion of governorship. You come bounding in here like a bucolic Mussolini and expect me to sit down meekly under your denunciations. And there's a ladybird crawling up your collar. If you had the slightest notion how funny you looked.
Damn and blast you, woman!
And good day to you, sir. Oh, Miss Teasdale, it is nice to see you again. You found your way all right. Do come in. That was one of our governors, Mr. Khan of Maythorpe.
One of your local problems?
Yes, indeed. One of my local problems.
I'm hungry, Lid.
Tough.
When's dinner gonna be ready?
You've only just had your breakfast. Stop moaning, help me hang this washing out.
Oh, that's boring. Any word I can't even reach line proper.
You might not be able to yet, but one day you soon will, and then it'll be your job. I'm not washing your stinking clothes all my life. I've got other, bigger, better things to do with my time.
I thought you were gonna fall that flipping book learning.
Never said no about books or learning. Maybe I'm gonna be a dancer. Or an actress on the film.
Blimey, are you, Lid? Is that because we're getting a new mother?
Don't call her that. She's not our mother and never will be. Do you hear?
She is. Soon she's going to be our stepmother and there's nothing you can do about it.
Kitty? Good heavens, what on earth's the matter?
She hurt me. Because they said you was going to be our new man. I'm telling me Dad. I'm telling me Dad on you.
Can I help you fold the sheets? They can be tricky, especially when it's windy. They always remind me of sails, you know. great white sails blowing in the wind.
White? These sheets haven't been white since the day we got them, and then they were Sally Army. We're getting out new around here, only given. Second hand, almost worn out. The only time we ever get anything is because no one else wants it.
And I suppose that includes me then, does it?
We don't need a new mother.
Just because me and your dad are getting wedded, it doesn't mean he doesn't love your mother.
My name's Lydia, not Lyd.
Or love you any less. Lydia, your father's very proud of you. He's always saying how clever you are, how much he wants you to do well, to go back to school and then one day to go on to college.
Oh, you've all decided, have you?
Well, you do want to go back to school, don't you?
Why should I tell you anything? Why should you care?
Because I know what it must have meant to you having to give it up. Not knowing if you'd ever be able to go back again. Well, you can go back to school.
You liar. You're just saying that. I said I'd look after us all. I promised me, man. Dad wasn't even there. He never saw her face. How she tried to wait for him, and all the time it was with you. You and me dad waiting for her to die. I hate you.
I hate you both. Lydia, come back. I never even knew your dad then. It isn't easy for us, but we need each other.
We all need each other.
Good heavens, what on earth's the matter, child?
I can't come back to school. I promised me, ma'am.
Do try and calm down. Now that's it. Now tell me calmly, you promised your mother what?
To look after everyone.
Then who's going to look after you?
That's what she says, that woman, that widow Brimsley.
But surely you'd be glad of the help. That's what you want, isn't it?
I did think she wanted to help us. But then I heard about that new housing scheme. I know if she marries me dad, she'll jump the list, get him first, have a brand new house. Then they might not want us. Me.
It's for you, Lydia, don't you see? Everyone wants you to have a chance. You deserve it. Even your mother knew you were special, talented. I know she was very proud of you. It can't have been easy for us knowing she was dying and leaving you with the burden of a young family to look after.
It wasn't Mam's fault, it was him, me dad. He killed Mam and I hope he kills her next.
You don't mean that.
I know what people really think of us. They think we live like pigs. They feel sorry for us. Well, they're right. We are pigs.
Now you're just being silly.
Am I? Don't we live like pigs? Aren't you always scolding me for my messy books and early stockings and filthy hands and rough ways? I know you prefer the likes of Midge Khan just because her father's a governor and they live in a big house and talk all la-di-da. I know it's always their type that get on. They're the clever ones, not me. I should have never been born clever and everyone knows it.
Now listen to me, Lydia. My father was a blacksmith. He drank too much and he never had any time for me or my mother. He was a lazy bully and he believed women were only there to wait on him. I've known poverty and hardship. And I know what it's like to lose sight of your dreams. But don't you see, you've been given a second chance. Your mother would want you to be happy. You must seize every opportunity, take every offer open to you. Believe me when I say, Lydia, the world needs the sort of woman you could be.
So I should take it?
Yes, and come back to school.
But if I take it, I'll only end up having to pay for it again. Just like before. I came back to school and I was happy. Happier than anyone has the right to be. And then look what happened. Mum died.
We have to believe that the bad times won't last forever. And we will see the sun again. You must take a hold of life with both hands. Take it, embrace it. And if you have to pay for it, then at least you can say you've lived. And you had the courage to try. And I know you have the courage, Lydia. I know you have tremendous courage.
Like you, miss?
Yes. Just like me. I'm sorry to drag you out on a day like this.
No, really, I'm glad to be here.
Actually, I do love a deserted seafront after a good downpour. Oh, but I don't suppose it's very good for you.
No, I'm fine, really. So what can I do for you?
Don't be angry. But But I must know, Joe, is Khan still going on with his idiotic case?
Actually, I've just come back from seeing Snaith.
Has he decided?
Yes, he hasn't got a leg to stand on. Snaith's going ahead with the libel case.
He is. What damages is he asking?
10,000.
10,000? Oh, Joe, he'll be ruined.
I'm sure you're right, Sarah. Snaith does realise that.
And how true is it? I mean, is there any way... Is he to lose?
Well, I was surprised to hear that Khan has in actual fact made several perfectly true statements.
He... How?
Stillman did raise a mortgage and sell to Tadman, and Huggins acquired in the name of a chap called Aythorne the sheds on Leam Ferry Waste.
I don't understand. Why did Huggins...
Because he had reason for marrying off a girl to Aythorne.
Oh, heavens, it gets worse.
Huggins was sure the council were going to build on Leam Ferry Waste. He persuaded Tadman and Drew to come in with them and get hold of the rest of the site. Then they'd be in a position to force the council to pay through the nose.
So what are you saying, Joe? Snaith knew this? But this is all just what Khan said.
Yes, I know.
Then Khan has got his case.
Oh, no, because the Joint Council is on persuasion not going to recommend Leam Ferry Waste.
Not going to?
No. Snaith's going to go with Schedule B, reckons it's more convenient. It's a fair distance from Kingsport, but if the Electricity Association run their new light railway with cheap workman's tickets, it'll be ideal, especially for Snaith.
Oh, but Joe, this means that Robert Khan was right all along.
So I said, when that baby's ready to be born, she'll soon know about it. And yes, folk will talk. But if she's going to be its mother, then she... Oh, Robert, excuse me, please. Robert, dear boy, Robert. Oh, dear, excuse me. Robert. Oh.
Emma.
Oh, Robert.
Oh, dear, come on, sit down. You look exhausted.
Oh, good heavens. I'm far too old to be chasing young men round the Civic Hall, Robert.
And I must be going deaf in my old age.
In a world of your own, more like. How are you, my dear? Really, I've hardly seen you.
You're wearing the brooch?
Oh, it's a permanent fixture. Oh, I was going to keep it for very special functions, but I'm so thrilled with it I can barely bring myself to take it off nights.
I'm pleased. I only wish I'd given it to you sooner.
Where are you off to?
Home now. I'm just fetching my horse.
Oh, and what's all this I hear about your grand blow-up with Sarah Burton?
Yes. I'll say one thing for Sarah Burton. She's got a temper, hasn't she?
You mean you both have? Whatever were you quarrelling about?
I'm damned if I know. Oh, yes. The new school buildings. You know, really. She asks a bit much. She practically told me to take Midge away.
Robert, it's not serious.
Not on my part.
Can I tell her so?
If you want to. Give her my love. Tell her she's a grand lass. I wouldn't miss quarrelling with her for the world.
Must have gone over, taken Maester Khan with it.
I want to get away. Not only from the South Riding, but from myself. I want to die. I thought that time, work and necessity had helped. It has only trapped me. And now what have I left? My work, my ambition, my reputation. Whatever I do, my success must be his failure. What does it matter now? I've won. I have the grand promise of new buildings. All this transformation of the county, the new villages, a school of glass and chromium and cement. All these were witnesses to his defeat. He had tried to hold the South Riding in his own likeness, to preserve tradition, to dam the tide of change. And I have helped ruin him. If only he had loved me even for an hour, this would have not been unendurable.
Miss Burton, might I have an urgent word?
Yes, very well.
It's about Midge Khan.
Yes, we'll spit it out. What about Midge Khan?
Well, she hasn't handed in her project work, and her matriculation sheets are blank. I mean, it would appear that she hasn't completed any of the set work, and she's drawn a picture of what I believe is her father riding a horse instead of the history essay.
Let me see. Sir Robert Khan, the brave knight of Maythorpe Castle. Oh dear, horse looks more like a donkey, and as for the brave knight...
You find this amusing?
Would that be all?
Yes, good morning.
There, my child. You let it out. You let it all out, Midge. It's all right. He was a very special father. He loved you very much.
Sarah, are you all right?
Joe. Hello, Joe.
I've just heard.
Yes, I cannot bear to go out. I suppose everyone is talking about it.
Yes, it's in all the papers.
Will you read it for me?
Well, if you insist.
Please.
It is feared that Mr. Robert Khan, well-known Yorkshire sportsman and gentleman farmer, who for 13 years was a member of the South Riding County Council for the division of Maythorpe, has met with a fatal accident. Last night he left the Crown Inn stables at Kiplington at about 6 p.m. to ride home to his residence, Maythorpe Hall. On his way he had arranged to call at Spring Farm for a business interview with his tenant, Mr. Eli Dixon. As he did not appear, Mr. Dixon visited Maythorpe Hall and learned from the servants that Mr. Khan had not returned.
Go on, please, Joe.
He quickly summoned help from some of Khan's men, and Mr. Harold Hicks of Maythorpe noticed a new and substantial fall of earth from the cliff, and on it partially buried the body of a horse. The horse was later recognised as the famous Black Hussar, for many years winner of the Hunt Cup at the South Riding Agricultural Shows. Mr. Khan was riding this animal when he left the Crown Inn. His riding crop and hat were also found, but so far there has been no trace of his body, which, it is thought, may have been washed out to sea.
Would you like some tea, Joe?
Only if it's what you want.
No, I'm sick of drinking tea. I think I'm sick of living.
Would you like me to take you home?
I don't know what to do with myself. Silly, isn't it? I can't help wishing the hall was full of my girls, singing hymns and mumbling their prayers. I keep thinking about poor Miss Siggleswaite. The lovely letter she wrote thanking me for being so understanding after her breakdown. That she feels sure I will go far and she will She will always rejoice in my well-deserved success. Well-deserved success. Miss Siggleswaite was the victim of bad mass bullying, and I left unpunished the ringleader of her tormentors. I have sacrificed the most distinguished scientist we have ever had on our staff for Midge Khan. It was Midge who I should have sent away. The child was vain and hysterical and a bad influence on the whole school. Oh, I treated Miss Siggleswaite shabbily, and now she is a companion to a blind woman, and why? What was it all for? Why should she pay for my stubborn, selfish love for a weak man?
Sarah, you mustn't be so hard on yourself.
Mustn't I? Why? Perhaps I've asked for all this, Joe.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Coming ready or not? Oh, Lid, you was meant to hide. Go on, go and hide and I'll count again.
No, I don't want to play no more, Key. I'm too old for games now. Go find our Daisy, go on.
What are you gonna do?
I don't know, think a bit. Take a walk along cliffs.
Can I come? Oh, Lid, go on, I promise I'll be good. I won't natter you, honest.
No, I want to be on my own, Kitty. I've got a lot of thinking to do. I'll be going back to school soon and I've got to be ready. I'll take you for a picnic, though, I promise. I'll take you on the last day of the holidays.
Oh, will you? You promise?
I said so, didn't I? Well, go on then. Go find our Daisy. Good night. Good night. Parting is such sweet sorrow that I shall say good night till it be morrow.
Another top-up.
A little, thank you, Joe.
Sarah, I know now is probably not the best time to tell you this, but I feel I must. I've made my mind up. I'm retiring from the council and clearing out.
Is it your health? Oh dear, Joe, has it got much worse?
Oh, better. That's just it. I'm going back up north. I've got an organising job on Tyneside. They can spare me very well. After all, they hardly know what I'm really like. They've only seen a sick man.
Joe, you can't do it. It'll kill you in a couple of years.
Sarah, I know what I want. And whatever I want, it's not going to be found here in the South Riding.
You know, Joe, you remind me of the old Spanish knights who greeted each other with the wish, "May God deny thee peace and give thee glory." That's it, isn't it? That's you and I, Joe.
We'll have to work for a revolution, Sarah. You're a grand girl, but I don't think you're a politician. You see ends but not means. We can't build anything permanent on these foundations.
And that's why you're leaving.
At the end of the week, yes.
Oh, what am I to do without you? You are my only true friend here in the South Riding. Come in. Come in.
It's me, Miss Ben. I hope you don't mind me coming. It's just I wanted to show you something. It's my satchel, miss. See, it's all polished up and ready. Here's pencils and spare paper, ruler. I know there's a rubber here somewhere. Of course, that's if old Lenny hadn't ate it. Oh, here it is. They're all brand new and all. Here's a section for my exercise books. And textbooks go here. Oh, miss, I didn't mean to upset you. I only wanted to show you, to thank you for getting me here, for letting me come back to school.
Yes, it's very nice, Lydia. It's kind of you to show me. You looking forward to coming back?
Oh, yes, Miss Burton. Miss Burton, do you mind me asking you something?
Oh, not at all. You should never be afraid to ask questions.
Well, that's just it. I want to ask questions. I want to ask questions all the time, especially to him. My dad. But I don't.
And why do you think that is, Lydia?
Because I know he doesn't know the answers, miss. Just like my mum didn't. And that scares me, because I know he's proud of me and that, but he knows he's lost me. I
can't explain it. It's not that I'm ashamed of where I've come from, but it's not who I am. I mean, I can be like you, can't I? I can go to college, get away from here. I can have a better life, can't I?
Is that really a question, or do you think you know the answer?
I don't know, miss. I only hope I do.
Excuse me, won't you?
Shall I go?
No, wait. Hello? Oh, Mrs. Beddoes. Yes, I've heard. No, I'm not. I have Lydia Holly with me. Yes, she's fine. She's looking forward to coming back to school as much as we are having her. Yes, I will. Yes. I rather thought you might. No, really. Yes, until tomorrow, then. Yes, I'm quite fine. Goodbye.
I should go, Miss Burton. Are you all right, miss? Can I get you anything?
No. No, I'm just a little cold. Is it cold in here?
Well, the window is wide open. Shall I close it for you?
No. No, I want to hear the sea. I'm fine, really, dear. You get off home before it gets dark.
But it's only 2 o'clock, miss.
Is it? It seems so late. Lydia.
Yes, miss?
You must never be afraid to ask questions. Because questioning does not mean the end of loving, and loving does not mean sacrificing your intelligence. Vow as much to love your family as you like. Yes, serve to the death if necessary. But I'm telling you, Lydia, do not ever forget to question. Your father needs to search for answers as much as you need to ask questions. I must go on living. The new school building is my dream, and I need to fulfill my dreams. Lydia is returning to school, and she's sure to receive a major county scholarship and then go on to college. I have saved Lydia Holly and failed Robert Kahn. But I will have to go on living with my treachery and try not to betray myself.
Oh, Lyd, wasn't it nice of Miss Brindley to make us that picnic here?
Oh, it's going to chuck it down soon. Kitty, come on, we better be heading back.
Lydia, look, over there near that bit of sacking. See, it's a man's boot. A dead man's boot.
It's just a bit of rubbish washed up by the sea. Come on, we better be heading back. Put that stick down, Kitty.
I want to get that boot. Ugh. Oh, Lydia, it's not empty.
Oh, it's full of mud by me. Come away. Come on. I said run. Run.
What is it? Oh, what is it, Lyd?
I don't know, but we better tell someone. Come on, I said run.
Oh, God. Oh, bugger, Lydia, we're horrible.
Oh, stop swearing and run faster.
Oh, Lyd, I'm scared. Did you see his eye?
You never saw its eye. You saw its foot by me. Shut up now. You'll only scare yourself. We've got to get back before it rains, else rain might wash it away. I think it's Mr. Khan.
What if you did quarrel? What if you didn't like him? That's no reason for insulting his dead body.
Mrs. Beddoes, please, it's not like that.
He was one of your governors. He's having a public funeral. The coroner said it was death by misadventure. It's only decent to go.
I don't want to. I dislike funerals. I hate this public display about death. Oh. I don't intend to go. I can't possibly get away. It's a new school term. I have work to do.
Stop it! For goodness sake, don't go then, but don't talk to me like that, don't you see? I can't stand it. I've had enough.
I'm sorry. It's getting late. I really came partly to talk about Midge. You know, Lord Sedgemeyer came a fortnight ago. We had a talk. He wants to take her to live with them in Shropshire. So I've got to give notice, I suppose, of her leaving here.
She was always a little snob.
Oh, Miss Burton, why must you be so? You used to like him once when Midge was ill. Surely you...
Surely. I liked him once.
Then why can't you behave decently? You know I loved him. You know he was my friend, more like a son to me. Can't you at least keep back your prejudices until he's in his grave? Do you think it's easy for any of us to face it? You quarrelled with him about politics and so on, but we who loved him, we shall have to stand there and hear those words, and see those flowers, and listen to the rector talking about death swallowed up by victory, not knowing whether perhaps he failed in the end.
You mean he killed himself?
How can we tell? It wasn't like him. But all that about making his will, and the insurance, and his dealings with the bank, and coming to me. Why did he fix everything up so if he didn't know, if he hadn't planned?
You think suicide a sin, then?
Oh, perhaps not exactly a sin, but it was unlike him. He never shirked at anything, no matter how unpleasant. It worried me when he gave me this brooch. It was Muriel's. Worried me when he asked me to be the guardian. Why did he do it just then if he hadn't known? That's what I've asked myself day and night. Why did he do it?
Because he knew he was very ill.
Ill? Robert Kahn? Nonsense. He never had a day's illness in his life. I would have known.
He had angina pectoris.
What?
2 attacks. The second was a bad one. I happened to be there once when he had an attack.
I don't understand. Why didn't he tell me?
It may not have occurred to you, but I was in love with Robert Kahn. Oh, he wasn't with me, not at all, though I think he liked me. At the beginning of the summer holidays, I went to Manchester to do some shopping before I went down to my sister. I had taken a room at the Piccadilly Hotel. I found Robert Kahn there, too. He didn't know I would be there, of course. He had drunk a good deal. I took care that he did. What followed was entirely my own doing.
Oh, please, can't you just tell me? Were you his lover?
No. No, we were not. Don't you understand? I wanted him to be drunk because if he was drunk, he might forget for an hour that he did not love me. I made him dance, then more drinks. Do you understand? Then I asked him to my room.
Oh, God.
Of course he accepted. In the circumstances, it was inevitable. As he reached my door, he had an attack. He was very ill. I thought he was going to die. He had nitrate of amyl in his room. I got it for him. By morning, he was better. He went back to his own room. I don't know what he did the next day, but he must have known that his life might end at any moment.
I see. Please go on.
He was not my lover. He was ill too soon. I had meant him to be. I tell you here and now that I would have given all I have for one night, 1 hour.
Why did you tell me this?
Because you loved him. And I thought you should at least know the truth about him. He was a sick man. He knew he must die. He tried to make preparations for that. He did not kill himself. We never met again till the day he died. He never wrote. He avoided governor's meetings, everything. Then suddenly on the day of the inspection he came to scold me about the new school buildings. We were quarrelling when Miss Teasdale arrived. He rushed out and she asked me, "Is that one of your local problems?" Problems? My God, so you see, I have lost everything. Even his good opinion of me. And it's my own fault completely.
Wait a minute. What time was it when he called on you?
In the morning. Miss Teasdale came about 11:30. Why? What difference can it make?
I'm just remembering it was the afternoon I saw him. Yes. And he gave me a message for you.
A message for me?
Yes. I never thought it important. In one way it wasn't. Just a light word. He said, "Give her my love. Tell her she's a grand lass. I wouldn't miss quarrelling with her for the world." Oh, I'm sorry. It went out of my mind. I thought it half a joke. I never thought it might be important to you.
Oh, I see.
But I know he liked and admired you. He told me once that he wished Midge had half your courage and generosity.
Oh, but he altered when I behaved like a bitch and he like
Oh,
a
be
cat on the
quiet.
roof.
I won't have you say such things. It's ugly and horrid and it doesn't help. He didn't. He admired you.
Why did he never speak then? Why did he leave me alone thinking he hated and despised me? It was cruel. One word, only one word, just to show...
can't you see? He wasn't the kind of man to talk like that. He hardly spoke a word unless it was in temper, when silence would do. Then I expect he was a little embarrassed too for being ill with you, perhaps even a little ashamed. He hadn't much imagination, you know. He didn't think much of what other people might be feeling, or what effect he might have made on them. He often hurt me too, without meaning it, just by not seeing, by being rather blind. So don't worry. Nobody despised you. And you mustn't despise yourself anymore.
I cannot bear this pain. I want to give up teaching. I want to go away. I think I want to die.
Who are you to think you can get through life without pain? Did you expect never to be ashamed of yourself? Of course it hurts you. And it'll go on hurting. You needn't believe much what they say about time healing. I've had 70 years and more of time, and there are plenty of things in my life I still can't bear thinking of. You've just to get along as best you can with all your shames and sorrows and humiliations. Maybe in the end it's those things which are the most use to you. They'll make you a better teacher anyway.
I shan't teach any more.
Oh, yes, you will. You can't take all your experience and education and training and throw it all up just when you might be of some service. I'd call that cowardice.
Tell me, why should I love him like this? He was everything I disliked most. Reactionary, unimaginative, selfish, arrogant, prejudiced. Yet he filled the world for me. I can see nothing else now.
You've got him wrong. It may have been all that you say he was, but he was much more. He was courageous and kind and honest. He was, in dealing with people, the gentlest man I knew. He knew all about loving. He let a woman destroy his whole life, yet never blamed her. He never ran away from failure. He never whined, he never deceived himself, never blamed others when things went wrong. In the end, it's not politics or opinions, it's those fundamental things that count, the things of the spirit.
In the end? In what end? In no end I've ever heard of.
Perhaps not. Perhaps in an end too far away for us to dream of. So you see, you've got to stay and work here, Sarah Burton, because you belong to the South Riding and he loved it. As I see it, when you come to the bottom of it all this local government is just working together. Us, ordinary people, against the troubles that afflict all of us. Poverty, ignorance, sickness, isolation, madness. And you can help us. You, who belong here,
and who were clever and went out into the world to gain your education.
But I've done so badly. I hate myself so.
Well, quite a few of us have got through life without too good an opinion of ourselves, and yet we manage. I must go. So, you'll come to the funeral tomorrow?
Yes.
And stay on and work here?
Yes.
Goodbye, my dear girl. God bless and comfort you.
South Riding by Winifred Holtby was dramatised by Jill Adams. It starred Sarah Lancashire, Philip Glenister, Carol Boyd, Susan Cookson, Maggie Tagney, Donald McBride, Lucy Beaumont, Anne-Marie Hosell, and Maya Foer. It was directed by Melanie Harris.